All right, just loading back into Raft. Carry on with our mission of building up resources before we go to Tangaroa. I can't remember quite what the pronunciation of the island
One of
is,
those.
but either way, we will be going places next Saturday after like 2 weeks of. I mean, we did do an entire island last weekend, which I wasn't like on this last Saturday, which I didn't expect. So hey, we made more progress than anticipated.
Oh, we did pretty good for last weekend.
All right, we are back in, or more so, I am back in.
I'm just loading in.
Yes, I still haven't Googled whether there is a like remote anchor because the engine control has a anchor button, but it doesn't do anything. Oh, you should build yourself a canteen when you get a moment. They are an improvement over water bottles.
Oh, I appreciate that.
They will hold twice as much water. No, that is, yeah, whatever, that works fine. Yeah, as we currently have like 3 sharks in the water, I am not super keen on going in the water anymore.
Yeah, I'm not enjoying this Bruce mitosis process.
Yep. At least this is the worst that it gets, but also, excuse me, 3 is too many Bruces.
I mean, bad things come in threes, right?
3, yep, that is true. Like they say, 3 is company. I'm definitely have started putting fish into the biofuel refiner. Figure as long as Jess doesn't find out, we're fine.
Yeah, no
Jess,
one's allowed to snitch on us.
yeah, Jess may or may not have thoughts on that. No, they're not being wasted, so whatever. But it is definitely a case. Like we've got plenty of those in in reserve. The rest can go into like basically we do need to put something in the biofuel
That's,
refiner.
I have 2 cans of biofuel.
Yeah. Because yeah, we're not short on biofuel, but like that is running our battery chargers, our engines, and we'll continue to basically do more and more.
So, man, do I have a story from today. Um, Somebody left a wallet behind,
Uh-huh.
which, like, isn't a big deal. Things happen.
Yep.
Unfortunately, there's no photo ID. However, there is a name on a couple of credit cards. Apparently, there
Yep.
was also cash in there. I'm not fully sure because I didn't really get a good look at it. This is no longer my problem. This used to be my job, but I don't work there anymore.
Yep.
So, one of my shift supervisors attempted to hunt this person down via Facebook, which I have opinions on.
Yeah, no.
Because I have made this mistake in the past when I was working my other job. However, it was unsuccessful, thank goodness, because again, I have opinions and it never ends well.
Yep.
And then this lady comes in, and I have to tell you, this woman had like the weirdest, like slinky shuffle walk I have ever seen.
Yep.
Like, picture the sketchiest cartoon trying to sneak around, and add like that her feet can't lift off the floor, and it's this like.
Yep.
So she takes off towards the bathrooms, and we're immediately like, oh no. And, you know, I was like, oh, that's not the sketchiest thing I've seen all day, kind of thing.
Yep.
And one of my coworkers was like, yeah, she's been in here before, and I'm like, okay, whatever. Then she comes up to the front, and she's like, did you find a brown wallet? And we're like, actually, we did. And she's like, oh, thank God. And she's like, you know, I need to get that blah, blah, blah. It's, you know, long story. So we do what I feel like is a pretty reasonable thing, and we were like, hey, what's the name on the wallet? Like,
Yep.
what's the name of the cards? Oh, well, it's not my wallet, it's my friend's wallet. You don't know your own friend's name?
Yeah.
You don't know your own friend's name?
We're asking what's the name on the cards going to be? You should know this. If you don't, you're not good enough friends with this person that we should be giving you their wallet.
Right. So anyways, we're like, hey, we're not giving you this wallet if you can't even give us the name. And she's like, oh, I was holding it for them. And we were like, that's fine and dandy, but you need to be able to identify the wallet. And she goes, well, can I call her? Can I use your phone to call her? We're like, no, our phone is broken.
Yeah.
You
Hey, Michael, how's it going?
So she leaves. She came back
Yep.
a little later, and she was like, so it's my friend's wallet. She says I can pick it up. We're like, okay, what's your friend's name? She still can't give us a name. We're like, your friend has to come down with some kind of photo ID at this point.
Yep.
So she left. She didn't come back the rest of the day, thank goodness. I do find it really funny, though, because that shift supervisor originally was planning to take this wallet to the cops, because I'm like, phone the cops. Phone the cops. Give them the wallet, make it a them problem, not an us problem.
Yep.
And so when the shift supervisor was leaving for the day, I'm like, are you going to take the wallet? She's like, oh no, I've washed my hands of it. I want nothing to do with this. And I'm like,
This is your job.
but you could literally just take it to the cop shop, and then it's no longer anyone's problem but the cops.
Yeah, then it stops being the problem of the people you work with.
But this shift supervisor tends to wash her hands of a lot of things, to be fair, so whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm just watching this. And I kept saying, as someone who used to work in Lost and Found, just don't play the game.
Yep.
You know, like, you've got to be able to identify it. Like, I would never hand over a wallet without having some kind of identification. I don't care. Like, you've got to give me some kind of photo ID to prove that you're so-and-so. But yeah, I'm waiting for this Sega if it continues, because like now I'm not sure if it is just a case of, yes, she got this wallet from somebody, and is a little too stoned to remember a name, which is quite possible. Or if it is a case that she has stolen this from somebody.
Well, that is like, if you could tell me the names on the cards and like basically go, yeah, this is my wallet. I know it's in my wallet. It'd be like, okay, fine. That sounds
like,
reasonable.
If for whatever reason, I don't know, Crafting Spirit had left her wallet, and I walk in and I'm like, hey, do you have a wallet for someone? So depending on the establishment, because again, like, my old job would ask for photo ID, and if you did not match, they would be like, no, it has to be. Well,
and then one thing would be like, hey, here's my photo ID, same address, like same last name, and suddenly it's like, okay, well, this does seem at the very least reasonable.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, if you went in for Crafting Spirit, that makes sense.
Or even if it was like, hey, a friend basically dropped this off, or basically lost their wallet, thinks they may have lost their wallet here, and be like, okay, we'll give you information. Be like, all right, well, I'm going to pull up my phone and call said person and be like, yes, there's a wallet. Can you describe said wallet? And if they get enough detail, maybe they'll let it go. If not, it's like, all right, well, your wallet is here. You need to come pick it up, bring some
Yeah.
ID.
And that was
Not
the
an
thing when my
illogical
manager
thing.
was like, "Oh, I'm gonna hunt this person down on Facebook." I was like, "Bad idea,"
Nope.
because I made that mistake once. I did find the person.
Yeah.
However, they were out in Vancouver, and they wanted me to mail it to them, and I'm like, I only have a Facebook picture
Yeah, no.
and the name. I am not emailing you anything. Like, I'm not mailing you anything that might belong to somebody else.
Yep.
Like, I'm pretty sure it was her, like 95%, but there's still a 5% chance that I am wrong.
Yeah.
And you know what? I don't want to be charged with some kind of theft.
Yep. And that's the whole thing. Like at the end of the day, you lost. And well, it is also a case of like that's handed off to the police. The police can do whatever they do, and then if they feel comfortable mailing it out, they can mail it out.
That mostly that was the thing. I did notice that that particular wallet vanished at one point, so I don't know if they convinced a manager. But at that point, it's not a me problem; it's a manager problem.
Yep.
Managers get paid way more than me. They can take the blame.
Yep. That's if somebody else wants to take the risks involved, gung ho, go for it. But we are sailing directly into a large island.
Oh, that
I
went
don't
well.
know if there's anything I need off a big island. I don't know if I want to go to a big island.
I think we still need clay, but that involves dealing with Bruce's.
Well, on the upside, dealing with Brucei is a lot easier when we're on a big island because we can get away from them.
That's true, because they just hang around the raft in most
Yeah.
places.
Yeah, I think with enough players, the Bruce problem's actually very easy to deal with because there's like one person on the raft simply drives the raft away after dropping people off on the island.
Wasn't that what Juan was doing for a while?
I mean, he was swimming away from the raft,
Fair.
which you just can't do with 3 Bruce.
I mean, you can, but it's a choice.
You're not making it. I feel pretty confident in guaranteeing you are not making that trip. Alright. Broken fishing rod, but that was good timing. I don't need the fishing rod right now.
I guess a big island's more likely to have a trading post too, which would be good.
Yep. I mean, I don't think we've got a lot of things to trade right now, but...
We not have a bunch of fish.
Nope, I already traded them in.
That's fair.
Yeah, I think actually I hit a trading post after you logged off. And that actually, so that net us this wonderful little contraption. So I'm like, let's see how this goes.
I love it. That's amazing.
So now that I know how they work, I'm like, okay, well, I want the bigger one now.
Yeah, I love how the canteen not only says for water only, like I have other options. But I appreciate the carabiner clip.
All right, dropping anchor. We just walk right off the front of the boat into the bamboo here. Still gets me that you get all these islands of bamboo, and you never actually harvest the bamboo.
Yeah, that seems like an odd choice because bamboo's pretty useful.
Like bamboo's super useful. I would be using so much bamboo.
And I mean, it is like invasive. I'm only judging this by Vancouver, but there is bamboo everywhere. And I don't think a lot of it was planted, you know?
Yeah. So yeah, remember somebody actually talking about the whole bamboo situation in Vancouver? It is not unwanted. It is, however, not necessarily.
Yeah, I don't think it's like a bad invasive, but
Yeah.
I think it is stubborn as all heck.
Basically, it's not that it outcompetes the local plant life, but it is still, it will survive. So,
Which, as a subpar gardener, I appreciate.
oh, actually, I did not mean to make that. I meant to make more rope.
I found a puffer fish. I'm gonna put it. Immediately into another puffer fish.
Sounds accurate.
Sirs, I just want some clay.
Are you talking to the pufferfish or?
Yeah.
Okay.
I haven't seen a brucei yet.
Okay, I didn't want that. I want. All right, I've got all the trading coins I currently got. All right, I'm guessing there's probably a death bird on this island, but only one way to find out.
Yep. A screech and a sudden drop.
Not gonna fight any boars. I don't have the weaponry for this. Got a cave with dirt. Dirt's not a thing we're hurting for right now. I don't know that I'm gonna bother picking up, but I will grab the mushrooms. And so much scrap. I know we're not hurting for scrap anymore, but I still like scrap. Red melon, that is not a thing we need. We already have that recipe, I know that. Alright, well that's not the way to the top. So I guess we go around the other way. I brought food, yes, excellent. I totally planned that.
I plan not to starve.
That's why I really love
is
the
well thought out.
canteen, because the fact that it is twice as big as the water bottle. I just mostly don't have to plan about water. It's just periodically fill it up and you're set. Boar, leave me alone. Do you quarrel? He does quarrel. So he's probably a Bruce. Everyone's a Bruce. Everyone's a Bruce until proven otherwise.
I agree with this. Another mildly amusing situation happened today where one of our
Deathbird.
Horrible regulars came in, and he's such a... His drink is ridiculous, and he's very finicky, and nobody ever gets it right, and blah blah blah, and he's just mean. And long and short is he's kind of mean and horrible.
Yep.
So he got the new guy to ring in his drink, and new guy actually managed to ring it in correctly according to this guy, which is nearly impossible. But, like, kudos to the new guy. And he, like, makes a point of being like, hey, you know, like, nobody ever gets this right, and I just want you to know that, like, doing a really good job, blah blah blah. This man has never had a nice thing to say.
Yeah.
So I kind of leaned over to Dustin. I was like, how much you want to bet that he's only being nice because this man has, like, this worker has the appropriate genitalia.
Yeah.
You know. and is not under a rainbow flag visibly, is how I'm gonna put that.
Yeah.
And definitely Dustin's like, yep, absolutely.
Yep.
I think about 7 of us have actively asked for this man to be banned, and unfortunately have been denied.
Yep. Which is unfortunate, but
Yeah.
oh, I don't have enough trade coin, so that means time to buy some fishing bait.
Yeah, to give an idea of his drink, from what I remember, he gets pour over, and he wants it half decaf espresso beans and half regular espresso beans.
Yeah.
Which is just stupid, if you know. And then he wants a cup of hot water on the side and like half a cup of steamed cream.
Yeah.
And then what he does is he splits this drink with his wife, so they get very, very, very weak espresso water, and they put the steamed cream on top.
What? That seemed okay.
Yeah, that's the thing. And you can't make it as decaf coffee. It has to be decaf espresso because he knows the difference, blah, blah, blah. So you have to go fish the beans out of the espresso machines.
Yeah.
And it's just like, you don't need to... You know, and he has no patience to explain his drink, so then he just yells at you.
That's what gets me. If you're gonna order something very specific, then be patient. Now we play the guessing game of how far south is Juan.
I don't actually know much about the southern states.
I mean,
Wyoming's one, right?
Yeah, I'm trying to decide whether he's actually like far south or not. So it could be
just mildly closer.
Yeah. Like he could be in Oregon for all I know.
That is a slightly more northern state.
I mean, Oregon's mid-north.
Okay.
It just, I mean,
Bruce found me.
Like, because California basically takes the bottom half of the West Coast, and then Oregon and Washington share the northern half.
I have been eaten by a Bruce eye.
Do you know where you've been eaten by Bruce?
Nope, but you know what? I'm just gonna
Nope. I think I see you.
Okay. I was like, I didn't think I was close enough to actively be that close to the raft.
I mean, I can see you from the raft, so.
That's fair. I wasn't paying attention. Oh, hey, look at that. Southern Oregon.
Yeah, Medford, Oregon. Medford, Oregon is actually where Castile is.
Oh, that's cool. Hey, do you want to ask them if my sword's... No.
Yeah. You want to pick up a sword while you're down there? Becky needs her sword.
Just tell them to keep the shipping money as a tip.
Yep.
I legit would. I appreciate Castile.
Yeah, Castile's good. I like them. They are not the best through a lack of competition. They are the best through simply offering proper customer service in a field that not everyone. Basically, in a smaller field, so people feel entitled to be dicks to customers. Not necessarily dicks, but just not necessarily. Like when buying swords, most places that sell swords are like, whatever. People either will buy them or they won't. And it's like, you know, good customer service still helps. Just because there's not a lot of options for people doesn't mean people won't.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like that was the thing. I wish they had the manpower, is how I'm going to phrase that.
Yeah.
So I could have gotten my order slightly sooner.
Well, and that's...
However, like, they have been amazing customer service wise because, like, when I reached out, I was like, I feel bad because I know you guys are really busy.
Well, as Sam did like strip down their department. There was layoffs when COVID hit because COVID. How are you making through this? Who knows? And there was that immediate drop off of swords, and then it kind of picked back up. So now he's trying to make it work with reduced crew.
Well, and that's the thing, and I can completely appreciate that. So, like, yeah, I would have loved it if it been able to be a little faster. But again, like, whenever I've talked to them, they have been A+, and I appreciate because I know how much work is going into my blade. Yeah, I feel like your truck would totally start the minute you pick up a sword one.
Juan, ever since Jeff picked up that package for me, I will not ask either like you or Jeff to pick up packages for me just because that was there's too much risk of one border crossing guard just being a pain in the butt. It shouldn't actually be a problem yet. Things that shouldn't be a problem can very easily turn into a big problem. Not worth it.
I feel like you get that with any kind of job that has, like, a limited power. Where they're like, haha, I mean, to be fair, I will openly admit I have decapped people, so I fall under this.
Abuse of power.
Absolutely.
So abusive.
I'm like, I don't have a lot of power, but I can do this to you.
That is where I'm happy. Like, I don't have a lot of power as a in my job as a mechanic, but at the same time, if I'm just like, no, you're not worth dealing with, I do get support from my boss, so I appreciate that.
I feel like I love-hate that because, like, how bad do you have to be, and I believe that they're up there, that even, like, somebody who's just coming to fix your thing is like, you're not worth the effort. You know?
I mean, there have been
I
some.
100% believe there are people.
Yeah, there's definitely been some idiots who it's like, you're not worth my time. And it's like the guy who was getting in my face and thought it was that I wanted him away from me because of COVID. And I'm like, no, this is my personal bubble. Please leave. You do not need to be in my personal space. There's zero reason for this. Ooh, eggs can go in the thing. Might actually be worth picking up another clucker at some point. Yeah, have a good night. It's Juan. I assume you're going to be back for the weekend as per usual this next weekend. Ooh, I should grab the treasure, or not, the metal detector.
I thought I ran far enough away to get away from the boar. I was wrong. They're mildly tenacious.
Yeah, they're pretty persistent. And do not like to go away. Alright, whatever. We'll waste the planks and cook a single fish.
Dear Deathbird, if you drop a rock on me when I'm in the water, illegal.
There will be a strongly worded letter.
Yes. To my MLA, or whatever. Like, what are they doing about animal control?
I guess I can't be fishing if I want to use the metal detector. Alright, boar. I want your leather. Ow. See, I'm gonna have to work for it.
I stabbed it, I think, once. That's not very helpful.
Every bit helps. He is dead. And is providing me with raw meat and leather, which I'm still... The fact that we could get meat off the diseased rats, but not off of the pigs on the island, says a lot about the condition of the pigs on the island.
Yep. There are some things you just don't eat. I will be right back because Jax is indicating to me that he may die very quickly, so
Yep.
I better see what's up with him.
Oh, there gets the death bird with his hunt for a good rock to drop in my head. There may actually not be treasure on this island.
That's rude. Why have a big island and no treasure?
Never mind. I just caught a single beep of treasure. Alright, I know Deathbird's not going to have given up. But I don't... Oh, there it is. I think the treasure or the metal detector actually does account for vertical distance. It's very common in games that like stuff like that will only work on basically 2 dimensions, not 3. Because that means the mapping of it is easier.
That's
But I
fair.
think this one actually just literally is a 3-dimensional. How far is it to the thing? Oh, I passed by. I feel like that's a rude location. It's like... Yeah, it's like in the cliff wall.
Rude.
Have to like jump up and to get to it.
Jeez,
Either way,
pirates, do better.
they had titanium ore in it, so I'll take it.
Nice. How many are you short now?
I'm not short any.
Awesome. I know we were 4 on Saturday, but I also know you did a bit on Sunday.
I bought the iron or the titanium ore I needed. So that solved the problem. All right. What can I drop?
I have to admit, I am looking forward to seeing how big of a hole we've dug ourselves next time we have game.
Yep, choices were made. Choices were made.
Choices get made a lot. And they're always questionable.
This is definitely one of those where I'm like, you'll be rubbing the dirt off your nose for a long time from this one, I think. I was talking to Mel on Sunday where I'm like, you basically one of the things I was actually tracking for this segment of the story was how far up the radar you had managed to get. And you just jumped up the radar very, very far, very quickly. So one of the, basically the, who's aware of you guys is mostly now, I'm like, nah, I don't have to worry about it.
Everybody.
Everyone who cares to track this sort of stuff is now aware.
I do kind of love it because, like, there were very strong indications we should just nope.
Mm-hmm.
And I was fine with that.
Yep. I did
Okay.
not actually plan the encounter because I did not have an expectation of that.
You should. I'm sorry. If you give us a dumb option, you should plan that we will take it. Apparently.
Yep. I was actually fully prepared for you guys stealing stuff from the manor. I was not prepared for you guys to wander around until you eventually found its owner.
The fact that one of our party members is sitting there with a backpack of stolen goods at this guy's dinner party is just amazing.
Yeah. I mean,
Like,
yep.
chef's kiss. Good job.
You guys certainly pulled something off there.
Oh, I don't think we pulled anything off. I think we have wandered up a certain creek and thrown out the paddles.
Yep. You don't need any paddles.
Nah. That's what the rapids are for, right?
I ate a fish out of it that was not useful because I did not actually have the space. My hunger bar is down a bit, but it's the bonus hunger bar that's empty, not the usable bit of the bar. Basically the bit that you get from meals.
I love standing inside the trade shack and just having
The bird frustrated trying to get to you.
Yeah.
Alright, well I found my treasure.
So definitely have to say I have just started it. And unlike my last job, it's a lot. Ooh, gonna fall down a cliff, gonna die. Oh, I survived that. Go me. Unlike my last job where I could just listen to like podcasts all the time.
Yeah.
It's been a lot slower. But Dungeons and Daddies is kind of hilarious.
Yeah.
I am greatly enjoying.
Yeah, there's definitely I saw someone making a comment about Dungeons and Dads, and basically what Wizard of the Coast was doing. The fact I had not basically gotten all over that yet. And it's like, yep. They should do so ASAP.
I mean, I have to say, I super appreciate that, and like, I mean, to be fair, a lot of D&D podcasts, I feel like, do this, but it is definitely a lot more storytelling, and, like, the roles happen.
Yeah.
But there's a lot less of the mechanics, and I can appreciate that.
Yeah. That's the thing of D&D has always been, how good is your D&D depends on your game master, always. It's not just, well, this is how D&D goes. It's like, no, or basically, what are you playing for? Always matters a lot. If you're playing for the story, play for the story.
Well, that's it, because there definitely, like, some things are limited. What your abilities to do things are limited by dice rolls, and I will accept that. Like,
Yeah.
it's the same with our game, right?
Yep.
However, I can appreciate a DM who's very willing to be like, yeah, okay, you can do this kind of thing, because I enjoy that flow better.
Yeah.
Like, I appreciate it being tempered, because I don't always like that. Oh yeah, that always works, because that's not how life works.
Well, and that is like some people have the way they do it is the answer is always yes, but it's always yes but.
Yeah.
The answer is never no, but there's always a complication to it.
Which is entirely fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm still on the first episode, but there is a point where they get into a fight. And one of the dads has a little bit of cell phone battery left. And he calls his stepson, who he does not get along with, because he literally just does not understand how to be a dad.
Yeah.
So he's awkward and he's trying, but like he doesn't know what he's doing. And he's kind of like, so I'm in this fight. I don't know what I should do. Like legit to his kid.
Yeah.
I'm in a fight. I don't know what to do. And the kid's like, you'll probably die. That sounds like something you'll do. And so he takes psychic damage, which I can appreciate. And there's definitely a quip at some point. He's like, I feel like that should be more psychic damage than the dice allotted.
Yep.
Also a quip at one point where like all the dads kind of get the impression that maybe they're not good dads. And the player's like, oh, yeah, no, my character already knew that. Like, this isn't a surprise. I'm like, I mean, at least you know. Like, it's not malicious, it's just, this poor man literally does not understand.
Yep. Okay, I think I'm far enough away to escape Bruce's wrath.
That's kind of where I'm hoping I'm at. Oh, of course that's when my hook decides to die.
That is one of my saving graces. I'm always swimming around enough materials to rebuild the hook. Okay. Schools of fishing can sometimes do a really good job of hiding pufferfish.
I have found so many pufferfish, and I'm just trying to play the game, you know, where you're like, I see a pufferfish. Maybe if I stay over here. I lose this game a lot.
Yep.
Hashtag, I'm a very bad gambler. Oh, that's you. I saw you swimming around, and I was very concerned about pufferfish.
Yeah. But as if I'm like, if Shep cannot join for raft, I think I'm actually, because of the fact that we're not like actually hurting for anything, I'm like, I was actually very tempted Sunday morning at that stream Sunday morning. I'm like, I'm very tempted to play farm manager, because I don't really play farm sim. I haven't. I have played a fair bit of it, but I don't play a ton of it. But I'm like, it's Sunday morning, so it's a farm stream. I'm like, I should play farm sim, and I totally would have, except I'm like, it's not installed, and I kind of forget what I'm doing with the game.
That's fair.
Hello, pufferfish. You feel like eating some arrows?
Chomp, chomp, chomp. No, I think because I am going on vacation,
Yeah.
I've somehow gotten half-decent shifts this week.
Yeah.
That being said, my hand is once again starting to hurt, and I'm very salty about this.
Yep, fair. Yep, I am drowning. Let's...
I guess upside side is my my sword fighting on my left side is getting a lot better.
Yeah.
It wasn't that bad to start with, but now, practice.
Oh. I apparently got too close to a pufferfish. It didn't hurt me, but I have lost the arrows that went into that one. So I have definitely melee pufferfish to death before, but it is a bit of a fine art. It's not just a, oh yeah, well I'll just reliably melee pufferfish to death. I feel like this pufferfish is going to be the death of my. Yeah. Yeah, I feel like if I don't want to, basically, rather than try to avoid the pufferfish, I think the better way to deal with them is kind of just swim at them, and then as soon as they do the animation that they're going to pop, get away.
Just watch them explode. I am
Yeah.
being interrogated because I have been cornered. Feel very threatened. Do we actively have plans for September Crown?
No.
That's kind of what I thought.
Still
Do we
want to
still
go.
think we might do something this weekend, or?
I mean, I wouldn't not be down, but also like if we're going down to the States for camping, it made more sense to do it when all of the stuff we need to pick up in the States is there.
Yeah, that's fair. That's kind of my thing. I haven't heard anything yet. And
Yeah.
it is just Monday, but I don't know how long it's going to take to get from Oregon
Yeah.
to... I feel like it shouldn't take that long, but...
And that is, I got a message from Miss Minx asking if we were going to freeze off. Miss Minx is Doom's partner.
When is freeze off?
End of September. September's the month coming up right now, right?
It is.
Yeah, okay. Yep, end of September.
I kind of... Oh, jeez. I thought I was under a thing. I was not. I feel like it largely depends on where that is.
It is north of Kamloops by, or north of, yeah, Kamloops by a little bit.
Okay, because I could probably get like
pretty
one
close.
day off. I cannot get a length of time because that is the time that both Kira and
Yeah.
Emily...
But you already, you have Saturday off, right?
I always have Saturdays,
Yeah.
Sundays, yeah.
Because that would be, because that would probably be go up Friday night and come back
Okay.
Sunday midday.
That is certainly doable. And I enjoy Miss Minx and Seamus.
Well, and they were basically asking if we were planning on going. I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, that mostly depends on whether people I like are going. And they're like, yep, that, same.
That's kind of the thing as much... Oh, jeez. I am dead under the raft. As much as I'd love to go to September Crown, nobody that I super want to hang out with is actively going. Not that the other people aren't lovely, but...
Yeah, well, so the only person who I know that is going is Rabbit Donkey. Everyone else, I'm like, I don't think they're going. So I'm like, I'm not. It's not like, yes, this is going to be like everyone who I want to hang out with is here, so let's go. But at the same time, it would also be cool to go do it. I do want to hang out with some of the people that are going to be there. So yeah, mixed feels. I would like to go. I also only have I'm just like I don't. It's a 7-hour drive for us.
Yeah. Well, and I, like, if we were planning to go, I would have liked to have gotten travel insurance, etc. Because
Yeah.
things are a bit weird comparatively when crossing borders.
Yep. Okay. Are you done on the island?
I am done on the island. Thank you. I think this island has enough in my blood.
Let's crawl back up into the kitchen, eat some food.
Yeah, my general assumption is my sword is either shipping this week or next.
Yeah.
I'm moving more heavily to this week, but I don't know what other projects were on the bench.
Yeah. Like, they do get their swords pretty quickly, because, I mean, they wouldn't be able to make money. No matter how much you're charging per sword, if they're going to take you a week to do a sword, you're not making it. But, yeah. Because I would be completely down to go camping somewhere in the States. I don't super care where. If we can then pick up all of our stuff while there.
I'm trying to remember. I'm pretty sure I open next week too for the Friday, so worst comes to worst, like I work till 12 or something and we take off. We're not that far.
No.
Yeah, I work till like 12.
And that's if we're just going camping wherever. There's good locations within a couple hours.
I believe Chaos Spirit had a suggestion of a place in Washington. I would have to quiz him.
Yeah. Where is the chaos when you need it?
Right? How dare. I'm going to request part of Freeze off. I don't know if I'll actually get it.
Yeah. And that is like, Freeze off is one of those where I'm like, I could totally go. It'll be a good event. I did, however, find the last one I went to a little underwhelming. Mostly the organization left a little bit to be desired.
That's fair.
And it didn't help that for some reason some of the people attending the event thought it was perfectly acceptable to just smoke. Because it's basically, it's outdoors, so they can just smoke wherever. And it's like, no, you're at the archery range. There are people with asthma who are coming to try to shoot their bow, who are now going to go sit in their camp with their inhaler for a while now instead.
I mean, I certainly don't have an issue with calling that out.
Well, I mean, neither do I, but like there was one point where it was like, this has already kind of become a problem. And so I literally went out there and I'm like, all right, yep, no one's smoking around it, you're good. And then the individual with asthma returns, like, nope, someone basically came by and lit up, and I'm like, are you effing kidding me?
Alright, well, I have requested, like I said, I can work early on the Friday, and I've requested the Monday off as per usual.
Yeah.
So even if we don't do something, it's a little vacay for me.
Yep.
Because I can't remember how much vacation time I have, but it's not nothing.
Yep.
Because I don't get to use it.
No, I did not mean to go backwards. I meant to turn that off.
Caveat here, as always, is I know that is when my store manager and one of my shifts both have vacation.
Yep. Well, I mean, even if you work, as long as you don't close on the Friday.
Well, that's the thing. I was like, I can
be.
work early morning, and then October should be fine.
Yeah.
And even if they need me to work the Monday, I would rather not.
And realistically, if we are going to freeze off, and you are closing that Friday, it's a little just over a 2-hour drive. That's still something you can either make that night or the next morning. without it
I don't
becoming
super
a real
want
problem.
to, but it's fine.
Yeah, like it is if we end up like, yes, we're going, and you're like, but I close that night, it's not like you're like, well, no, it's just I can't make that event. It just becomes less
Generally, I
comfortable.
speak like hesitantly saying this, but I can put it out in the universe regardless. Generally, my store manager is really good if I say, "Hey, I can work in the morning, but I can't."
Yeah,
Friday's also the one where one of our regular closers, that's her day off, or our openers, sorry, that's her day off. So I often get Friday mornings.
yeah.
So my manager does try to work with me. She's usually not too unreasonable. I say, who knows? I'm actually just really curious what my vacation hours look like. Because I'm claiming 2 for this week, but I say as I die of dehydration. Good job, me.
Sounds accurate. Alright. Okay, we still need potatoes, but the radishes can, or the raw beets can go into the bio setup, which we can add some more fuel to that tank. And we may end up having to actually add another tank to this eventually, but that would not be a big deal. I'm actually contemplating expanding that operation. Yeah, I was up, I'm like, I forget how to build the hanging lanterns, and then I realized, wait, you don't build the hanging lanterns, you just take the lantern and point to the ceiling. That's how you do
Just
that.
set them up.
Yeah. Yeah, I forgot they made that convenient. I was actually just contemplating adding like another floor to this raft, but looking at it, we don't need it. We still got enough room to expand within this the floor that we do have. So I'll keep building.
That is true. But there is always the chaos of haha.
Yep. Well, and we'll probably go up at least another floor before finishing the game, but that is not unexpected. It's just we're not really at a place where that's what we need to do yet.
It's like okay, should probably do stuff. I was trying to figure out how many vacation hours because I know I have some, and I find it really interesting that I can't find them on the scheduling app, and I'm like,
That would be helpful.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to be helpful. Being helpful leads to people taking time off.
right? We don't have partners to have time off, huh? I'm actually very curious about what's going to happen at the end of September. There has been some speculation.
I'm not sure about what.
Essentially, our manager's going on vacation, and managers are required to take their vacation before October, I think, or they lose it. Theirs doesn't roll
Uh-huh.
over like ours does. However, we don't have employees.
Uh-huh.
And the other manager of the store in town also has vacation at that time. So the nearest manager that can proxy for us is Kelowna. And they don't want to.
Uh-huh.
So there are rumors, is how I'm going to put it, that our store may be shut down.
Interesting.
However, if they shut down, they have to pay us.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of like, I don't think this is going to happen because I don't think they want to pay us.
Yeah, I can't see them being like, yep, this is a completely logical, good course of action.
But that being said, the district manager has flat out said, because it was suggested by my store manager that she just cancel her vacation, and he was like, I will shut down the store before I let you cancel your vacation.
Mm-hmm.
So we're kind of like, I'd be okay with this.
Yeah, certainly wouldn't be the worst case scenario. Actually, take that back. I don't want to drop the anchor quite yet.
Too bad we can't build like a little rowboat.
Yep, I would love the ability to just have like a little away boat. Where did I? There. Metal detector. Shovel that may or may not last long enough. I was really hoping the advanced net that I built would eventually allow for some way to automatically empty it.
Would be really nice.
Because if it could just auto empty into a container or into a machine, that would be super cool. Shovel literally broke as I dug it up, so we're good.
Just long enough?
Just enough. No, drop those rocks, don't need them. Glass is more valuable. That's just rope, I'm leaving it. Rope is not valuable. Alright, found the treasure on the island, which included titanium. So on the bottom level of the boat, there is a painting that I actually got out of a island treasure. It's like the sunflowers labeled the pot.
Oh, nice. I actually look forward to when we go to Bubble City.
Yeah.
Because I remember there were vending machines that you could buy paintings
Yes,
out of.
that has changed.
And there was... Oh no, really?
No, it's not. I'm not saying it's gone. I'm saying that's changed. Because I think that they're no longer going to take Tangaroa tokens. I think they're going to take regular trade tokens.
Oh, that's fair. That would make sense.
So I don't know
just really
what's
like
all
the
changed,
crazy
but
cats.
yeah. Yes.
I'm like, if I can get crazy cat art.
So, but yeah, that is one of, I remember reading that was one of the things that saw an update. And yeah, it was just simply that they had updated the vending machines in Tangaroa? I think that's how you pronounce that.
Something like that. I mean, that does absolutely make sense.
So, yeah, my assumption is that they simply changed what you need to spend there. But they may have changed it in other ways, I'm not sure. Haven't been there yet. Won't be quite new and unexplored territory, but still a little bit closer to it.
I mean, close enough.
Well,
It's
it's
been a time.
after Tangaroa, everything will be new. We will have no idea what's going on because that part of the game didn't exist last time we were out there.
Hello, death that we don't know about.
Yeah. And that is, I do appreciate this game. Like they were very upfront with how long all of their updates and everything were going to take, and they've been very, very good about staying roughly where, like, they basically gave times that were people were like, oh man, that is so far away. But they've been able to actually make those times work, versus like Valheim was promising all these updates, and then they just haven't really been materializing because, as it turns out, making video games is hard.
Yeah, I rather appreciate they're like, okay, this is our goal, and we're going to try our best to stick to it.
Yeah.
Rather than oh yeah, we'll totally have all this stuff, and then you're like, oh
Yeah, because I do have to admit, like, I have kind of stepped back from Valheim, being like, okay, I'm just going to ignore it for a while, because how long is it actually going to take to come around? So I'm like, all right, whatever, we'll wait.
yeah, I mean, I
be
still
around when it
greatly
is.
enjoy, like, obviously I'm still playing.
Yeah.
But I also have less of an active goal than more of a, like, eh.
My entire thing is, like, I played that game a lot when we were
You
when we
played
were
it
playing
just a little.
So I think
bit
I
of a lot.
did about. Actually, I'm gonna quickly look up in Steam. How many hours do I have in that? Come on, Steam. Show me my library. I presume Steam is showing me my. Oh, there it is. Mike, it's probably showing me my library somewhere, but where? Not a clue. 404.7 hours I put into Valheim. Not like, for the people who've dedicated tons of time into a game, that's not necessarily that much, but still, for a game that's early access, very much still rough around the edges, that's a lot of time.
I'm actually kind of curious, because I know I'm not there.
That's
247.8 for me.
Yeah. I'm not saying for me, I'm like, this game's still good, but I've done everything that can be done, kind of. There's not enough game for me to soak an unlimited amount of time into.
The thing, and like for me, as much as it is my solo game, when I wish to game and people aren't around, I actually prefer it as a social game.
Yeah. It is definitely at its best multiplayer. Obviously, a lot of that was single player because I have 400 hours in it, and I don't think any of my friends who played it have 400 hours in it. But still, it was at its best when we were playing multiplayer. I think part of the issue I actually run into with Valheim is that I really love the very early feel to it. But then later it get like there's this sort of tediousness that builds up near the end game. Basically, before portals were necessary, there's this really good feeling of, oh, I'm going to build like a camp here. And that's where I'm like, it would actually be pretty cool if you could like get, like, recruit Grey Dwarves to work for you after a while and be like, all right, you're going to work in the copper mines.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And we're going to run copper down this road.
That is part of the problem is, like, right now I'm just about getting ready for Swamp. But because I keep dying before I hit Swamp, and losing
Yeah.
everything, such as making bad decisions and mining a sea turtle. Now I'm stuck having to redo copper mining, and I hate it. Like, it is
Yeah.
so tedious.
I can hop on this island, but I guess I will make a new shovel before I go. But I'm actually trying to decide after we sort out Raft what to play for the Monday night stream. I'm not quite sure on what the best candidate is. Obviously, I need to get 94 degrees in northern Texas today.
Oh, that's pretty
I
warm.
think that's warm, but I mean, northern Texas, I feel like that is probably, I would take
Like
that.
a nice fall day.
Because 94 is what? 30, 33?
Oh, that's
That's
about
my
what it was
guess.
here.
Let's say 33. Let's put that
Okay.
into Google. 94 Fahrenheit to C goes 34.4.
So it's slightly warmer than today.
Yeah.
I mean, at this point, that actually does, like, it's still hot, but it is the point where you're like, ah, this is almost.
Yeah.
Is this fall?
I mean, like 34 is one of those days where it's like, this is warm. I would really like it to be cooler, but
It's not 37.
I can still do things. I'm not dying. I totally forgot to use my treasure or my metal detector on this island. Okay, where? Oh, I have now fallen off the island. Don't tell me it's like, oh. No, not here. I don't actually know where the treasure is. Oh, of course I am dying of dehydration. Thank goodness for that canteen. Yeah, the canteen's not as big of a step up as it is from water bottle to, or from water cup to water bottle, but it is
Yeah,
still a
it
nice
works.
step. It is still nice to have. I will take it.
I was just thinking, I actually worked with a lady whose son lives in Texas. And she was definitely talking about when you guys got snow, which he found amusing because he's from Canada. But I
Yeah,
would not want to imagine living in a place that just doesn't get snow and then all of a sudden having
yeah.
all of that dropped on you.
I feel like Texans dealing with snow would probably be. I feel like Texans dealing with 117-degree heat is more like they're more equipped to deal with that than they are to deal
Yep.
with snow. Okay, metal detector out. Where is this? Is this down? Yep, you sneaky buggers. I found your crates.
It's funny too, it actually makes me think of like when I lived in Newfoundland, which gets lots of snow, and there was a report about Vancouver shutting down because of snow.
Yep.
And my roommate looks at me and she goes, "That's where you're from, right?" And I was like, "No, I'm from a place that actually knows what snow is. Like, calm down."
Yep. Vancouver is the big city near us. Vancouver doesn't know how to deal with snow. In the Okanagan, we do know how to deal with snow. We do get snow.
Not well, but
I mean, I'm better than the people in Vancouver.
mostly that. Kind of disappointed that the cooking pot barbecue isn't called surf and turf.
Fair.
Ooh, I have messed up somewhere. What did I do? Also, kind of wish I didn't have to sacrifice a clay bowl to this monstrosity.
Yep. Yeah, it's when clay is short and you're like, actually there no. I'm
I
like,
was like,
there's a way to cheat the system, and I realized it's not worth it. Because you could just pick up the cooking station and put it back down again, but all the recipes put down
yeah, I know.
would make that a pain in the butt.
It's all good. I messed up. I have learned. Hopefully.
So you say.
No learning.
Did I break your fishing rod? Did I lose a fishing rod? Who knows? What I find interesting is it's not worth using a good fishing rod when getting the prize fish, which is not the way I'd expect that to go. But basically the big valuable, or the trade valuable fish, you will always catch one with bait. The bait is the only thing that matters. The fishing rod used doesn't.
Kind of makes sense, but also kind of silly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the sword technique that I was sharing on Saturday, I went over it again. It 100% does not have, basically it is a straight step forward with your right foot. And then you leave your, basically you do twist up, so your sword is actually on the same side of your body as your forward foot.
That's fair. I think Murdoch and I were mostly like, I was like, there was a handful of feints shown, and I don't know where to start.
Yep.
And he was like, let's do the one we were just talking about. And I'm like, aight. And then promptly managed to get it all twisted, because that's who I am as a human being.
The whole thing with something like feints is, feints you can drill really easily from any, like basically feints don't need to be complicated, but also some people want to do a fancy new move.
Yeah. I was discussing how when you did the Valheim tournament, and you said you were thinking of also running a class on feints, and then there wasn't enough. Valhalla, sorry.
Yep, Valhalla. Yep.
There wasn't enough people, obviously, to run a class, so we just set Archie up and went on. And I was telling him that I was actually really torn, because that is something I do want to work more on.
Yeah.
So if you had run the class, as much as I enjoy fighting, I probably would have joined for a bit.
Yeah.
Because, like, mine aren't terrible, but that was definitely a thing that was kind of thrown at me as a solution to a problem.
Yeah.
That I never really got a lot of. It was more of a, just do the thing, and I was like, okay.
Well, so, random question for you.
Yeah.
When do you feint? Like, when do you think is the right time to feint?
Honestly, 9 times out of 10, if I'm using it, it is because yourself or Murdoch, I'm going to say, are the two main people.
Yeah.
Have weird guards, and I don't want you to have that. That is mostly when I use
So
them.
yeah, feints can work for that, but feints actually in the like the larger world of sword fighting, feints actually are a really great tool to have at your disposal when you're fighting someone who likes to counterpunch, someone who's very much wants to riposte and or parry riposte. Because if you actually just carry out a single intention attack, you you are you're basically throwing yourself into where they expect you to be, really allowing them to really commit to their parry riposte. So if you feint, you don't give them that that ability. You
Fair.
make them have to basically repeatedly defend rather than defend return. Because as a fighter, I want to keep that initiative for me. I'm actually contemplating. I'm kind of tempted to talk to Mel. Depending on who's there on Thursday, I might see about running a class on feints for rapier.
I would enjoy. Failing that, if you don't mind putting some time into Saturday, depending on who shows up.
Yeah.
Just because it has dwindled a little, obviously, with people moving, etc.
Yeah.
Like, does not need to be a whole thing.
Yeah.
And obviously it's up to...
I mean, also we could
what
spend like
Evan
a
feels
month.
like.
We could spend a month doing nothing but feints and
Oh, God, yeah.
not be bad off for
That's
feints
kind
are
of the...
important.
I feel like the change with how things are being done as opposed to how they were being done.
Yeah.
I like having the group class because of the number of people we've got.
Yeah.
I sometimes miss having one thing that I was working on.
Yeah.
And I understand why we're doing it the way we are, and this is definitely not meant as a complaint at all.
Yeah. Well,
it's just more of a, oh, I kind of enjoyed having that thing,
well,
but we were also a much smaller group.
So I'm going to use a relative term of basically novice, intermediate, and advanced here. Not the overall intermediate, or basically advanced that like some people would like to use. But in the practice, the people who are the more advanced fighters, so like me, Spencer, Murdoch, and then you have the novice fighters, like which is most of the group. People have been doing it for less than a year. Novice fighters, it makes a lot of sense to do everyone's on the same page in the class. We're doing the same thing. But yeah, for the intermediate fighters, you get left in a bit of a more awkward situation where there isn't you don't know what you're doing well enough to be like, well, I'm going to make my own goal of this is what I'm working on. But also you are getting to a place where the class being run is not necessarily exactly what you need anymore. Ideally, it would be nice for you to be shifting a little bit more to something specific for you. But how do you do that? Like there's a transition point that's weird and awkward, and I don't know what the fix for that is yet.
Honestly, and I think I've mentioned this to you before, once I do have my blade, I'm thinking of talking to Murdoch.
Yep.
And just being like, I know that my blade is going to cause me issues with, like, minor issues, but because of design. So I would like to work with him because he has mentioned, like, there are things I might not be able to do the same way, which might mean I need slightly more advanced techniques. And I won't know, like, we won't know until we play with it. But in that case, I would just be like, hey, I would like to be an Ascalon student.
Yeah.
And we can work on this. And then at the same time, Murdoch can kind of give me advice on that too, because I like doing the classes.
Yeah.
But I would also like a goal.
Well, and
to
that
work
is
towards. And it's weird for me to feel like I'm at all, but compared to the new people, yes, I'm more in that category of I'm not intermediate, but
like in the group you are in the intermediate phase where you're not learning the basics of rapier. You are learning how to put it all together and make it work for you.
Yeah.
Which some people are not there yet, whether they think they're there yet or not.
Oh, well, and that's the thing, is we have some people who are very convinced that they know what they're doing. And we have some people who I feel like know what they're doing better than they do, but aren't confident in that yet.
Yeah.
I hate that phrase so much.
But I would just, like I said, at the convention, I was so happy that we didn't get many of those. We got a couple people who were a little like that, but like, and then the one that was very much like that. But like, we got away so. I don't know if we got away lucky or if this is just that is the way it's going to be at conventions doing Sword School. Because if it is, that's fantastic. I'm very okay with that. I look
I feel like
forward.
the really sucky thing with our resident, but I would,
Yeah.
is that he has that, I'm going to say physical advantage.
Yes.
I don't think that's the right word really, because it's not the physicality, it's just body structure.
Well, but that's the thing.
But
They literally just have a very clear physical advantage, not an athletic advantage.
yeah,
It is simply certain properties translate very well to rapier fighting. They got some
because
of
they
them.
have definitely got a few good hits on me, regardless of the
Yep.
stiffness behind them. But it's not because they're actually that good and it drives me up the
Yeah.
wall.
Well, that's the thing of like, I actually find fighting some new people is very, very difficult just because of basically being very tall, being very athletic, being very aggressive can all be things that translate to a lot of success, regardless of whether you actually know what you're doing or not. And that can
That's
be,
actually the thing with our problem child.
yeah,
I have less of that hesitation than I do, say, with one of our other new fighters, because our new fighter, like one of our new fighters, is so hesitant that
Yep.
I tend to slow down a lot.
Yep.
And kind of, I don't want to say I drop my level because that's not really fair.
Yeah.
But I'm a little slower
But
at
you
approaching
are,
and a little more
yeah.
careful with him because I want to encourage this. I
Yeah.
remember being that person.
Yeah.
I remember being afraid to do that.
And now that is the thing of like the best advice for you simply on a what's best for you without considering anyone else would be don't do it and just annihilate them.
Yeah.
But that is also, like you just said, you do want to encourage them.
Well, that's the thing. And
You
like,
don't want to just beat
I have
people up.
definitely fought him and not done that and then felt kind of bad halfway through and I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
right.
But that is like the same way, like I have fought you at different intensities. Like there's sometimes where I'm like, no, I'm working on this thing where I'm like, I'm gonna do that, and I don't like necessarily bowl through you, but like it's a
well,
different
it's
level
good
of
for me
fighting.
because there's points where I'm like, hey, I'm not doing too bad. And
Yeah.
then you up the intensity and it reminds me not so much of where I'm at, but that, yeah, there's different levels.
Basically,
so
this is a long hill.
Yeah.
There's a lot of growth. You can keep growing for years and still just be like, all right, have I made progress? Yes, but holy crap, there's so much.
I'm still a baby, yeah. But that's okay, and like that's the thing, as I said, like with certain new fighters, I don't have that kind of slow down, and I think it's the aggression that I react to. Whereas other fighters, I'm just like, oh, I remember being you, and I remember everything kind of being scary.
Yeah.
And we have some really, really good people. So I was very lucky in the fact that even when I was kind of like, I don't know what I'm doing, we had really good people that I could fight with. And I just want to be kind of that good person too.
Yep.
Because I don't mind giving a variety of, like, hey, today was kind of a tough fight with you. As long as people don't, you know, kind of feel off-put. And I don't think this particular person will. I think that he is firmly sword camp, but...
Yep.
Yeah, I just sometimes wish I was just good enough that with our chaotic spirit I could crack that down just a little, but I'll leave that to the more experienced fighters.
Well, and that is where I'm very much like when we had somebody of greater skill come through. I'm like, can you do me a favor? Now that actually went very well. I think that actually it was helpful. Ooh, what did I just pick up? Foul fogs.
What did you pick up?
A painting. It's
Okay.
called Foul Fogs. Now, where the...
Oh, I didn't hear foul the first time around, and I was very concerned at what foul fogs were.
There. It is a pixel art Cthulhu painting.
Ooh, I appreciate. Kudos to designers.
Can I mirror this? I cannot.
Also kind of looking forward to seeing who we retain as we get into winter.
Yep. Yeah, that'll be interesting. All right, got our horn set up. Very critical.
Absolutely.
That is, we've done a good job of getting people in. Now, who do we actually keep? Who drops away? There will be some.
Oh, there's always some that like life or just interest level.
Yeah, that's the thing of like there's always a lot of people that are like, this is cool, but when it's like, all right, are you willing to put a lot of time and energy long term into this? And they go, maybe not. And it's like, that is entirely fair. Unless you're willing to let this soak up a great deal of your life, it is understandable that you will fall away.
That was part of the reason I didn't end up joining until I changed my job.
Yeah.
Because I was like, you know, like with working every weekend and then.
Yep. I mean.
You know, I was kind of like, this seems like a lot of commitment, and my job wasn't that hard, but also.
And that's where technically it is a very low level of commitment, because it is very much one of those things of whatever you put in, like it can tailor very much to what you need it to be. But there still usually is a level that you want to put in, and if you can't put that much in, it's easy to kind of just fade away.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's. I mean, life kept me out of the STA for almost 10. Oh yeah, for actually over 10 years, for 11 years. So, I'm not the person who's going to judge other people for.
I mean, we
the level that they put in.
Ran into Murdoch. It must have been a KFX.
Not Pentagon. He was at the first Pentagon. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, but that was probably. I was trying to remember what the room looked like, but you know what? It was probably the first Pentagon.
Yeah.
I also feel like there might have been a KFX or something.
Yeah.
Only because, like, I feel like there was one where it was. We were interested, but at that point it was Wednesday nights, and that's when we had a game.
Yep.
So that didn't function. But it may have also been the Pentagon. Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
I'm okay. It's fine. But yeah, like, because I was definitely, at that point, obviously already interested. You tell me I can learn how to sword fight. I don't care what kind it is, you know.
Yeah. But I want to learn the long sword.
Right. Well, then, this is the thing. This is where I both agree and disagree with the idea that aesthetics matter. Because to some people, aesthetics 100% matter. I just wanted to learn to sword fight, and you could have told me it was literally anything, and I would have been like, hurrah.
Yeah.
I came out to your longsword class mostly because I had that day off.
Yeah.
I would have come out to rapier had that been convenient at the same time, but I had that Saturday off. It was in Penticton. Yay. But yeah, like, to some people, definitely, if you have an idea of what it looks like, you're going to do that.
Well, and that is like, the aesthetics definitely does matter to a large extent, but it's not like, it's not the only thing that matters. Like, if someone wants to do Japanese swordsmanship, you can still sell them a longsword. It's less likely to stick, but you can still sell them on it.
Well, that's the thing. The only reason I nearly went into kendo was because I wanted to learn the sword fight. You know, I'm a bit of a nerd in anime.
Yeah.
I didn't get into kendo because it was an expense I couldn't afford in university.
Yeah.
And honestly, probably would have been a level of commitment that I don't know if I could have
Yeah.
managed because university. It's really good at the beginning of the year, and then you suck.
Yep.
But I was full on. I was like, I'm really interested in this. Like, this would be, you know, a chance to meet people because
Yep.
that's fun. And stuff like that, and obviously did not follow through, which was fine. But for me, yeah, it was the haha, I can learn to sword fight and be slightly nerdy.
Yep.
And the SCA kind of does all those. But yeah, there is going to be that person who's like, I really like Pirates of the Caribbean. There's going to be that person who's like, I want to do Lord of the Rings. You know?
Yep.
And I
there
know
always is.
that there is some opinions on that.
Yep.
But I also think it's a good jumping point.
Well, that's the thing of like, the SCA is losing members overall.
Yeah.
That's our own fault. Nobody to blame on that other than the people who basically make the hobby inaccessible to new people. Like, we did have that one guy that showed up who basically, he wanted to LARP, and I'm like, well, unfortunately, this is not LARPing. Definitely.
Which, like, is fair.
Yeah. Well, and that's one of those where I'm like, maybe, like, if you come out, this might be a thing that you enjoy. You are totally welcome to come out. You don't have to this doesn't have to be your thing specifically for you to come out and enjoy it. But this is not the thing you're looking for.
And that's the thing, because I feel like the SCA does really exist in that weird void between being a Renaissance fair.
Yep.
And being... Honestly, it takes itself way too seriously.
I mean, the whole thing is like, a lot of the times it doesn't.
Yeah.
But then you get these little edges of, but we're a serious thing, and it's like, no, that is a defense reaction to other people saying that what you do is not legitimate.
That's the thing.
You don't need to
like
defend
some
what
of
you
us
do.
are still in high school mentality.
Yeah. We need to take it seriously so that way other people can know that I'm serious. And it's like,
yeah.
No, but honestly, we don't need to convince other people that what we do is fun or cool. We just need to make it open to the people who want to have fun.
Because it's exciting? Yeah.
Yeah.
Do I feel the need to justify my decision to go play with swords? Absolutely not.
Yep.
Because I am far past that kind of age where someone saying, oh, well, you're such a nerd for doing that means anything anymore.
Yeah. And that is when, like, when people are like, oh, it's LARP. And I'm like, it's not LARP. And they're like, oh, you're just, like, you're defending it because you're embarrassed. And I'm like, nope, I'm defending it because LARPers would be very disappointed if I told them we LARP and then they come and see what we do.
Fair.
As we have literally had a LARPer come out and be like, oh, I was hoping for LARP. And it's like, nope, this is not LARP. There's no magic missile. There's no... It is literally just me learning the manly art of sword fighting as it was taught 500 years ago.
Well, and definitely, like, I'm glad to see that there are some people who realize that there's a reality that they need to face.
Yeah.
Like, the reduced armor experiment is really exciting for me, in particular, just as someone who has not gotten a lot of garb together.
Yep.
Because it means I can make something very simple and still pass.
Well, and also, like, it's one of those people, like, I get away very lucky in the fact that I can be wearing a lot of clothing and not be dying from heat.
Yeah. I am definitely not in that boat.
Yep. Not many people are. So it really sucks for everyone who's like, yeah, I'd love to not just die whenever we sword fight in 40-degree heat. Hey, Wild West, how's it going? But yeah, that is definitely the reduced armor for rapier is super nice.
I'm super excited. Like, I have definitely enjoyed this summer more. I was doing okay. You know, it was like,
Yeah,
I'm okay. I don't love it, but I'm okay, because,
yeah,
you know, I just strip off the sweatshirt afterwards, because that's my garb.
yep.
But I have appreciated being able to wear a lighter t-shirt and just kind of...
Which I actually sent off an email to make, because I see you're still on the list, and I'm like, well, I'm gonna send off an email, see where that's at, so we'll see.
Oh, am I still on the pending for the marshal?
Well, not pending, you haven't officially gotten onto the list. I'm like, well, you should have by now. Well, you would say it's going like ice cream, but it's not. I'm doing good. I'm not sure what the ice cream emoji.
I mean, I feel that emotionally. I'm screaming a lot,
Oh,
but I don't know if that's actually what that means.
that may very well be it. Ice cream. Yeah, no, I am doing good this week. I am trying my best to be productive this week. We'll see how that actually turns out long term.
Oh, what a mood. Are you working on the dagger guard?
Yes,
Nice.
it is all welded together actually today.
Awesome.
Well,
Good
not
job.
all welded together. It's mostly welded together.
Mostly count.
I took a break where I'm like, I need to do grinding and I'm not wearing my earplugs and I just don't feel like going putting earplugs in right now. Because I can weld without earplugs. I'm not grinding without earplugs. I don't need to. I mean, I'm sure when I'm older, I will already be one of the old men going, what?
That's okay. I am already... I have days where I'm like, am I losing my hearing? And I don't feel like I am. It's just... people are...
Yeah.
people.
People, am I right?
I kind of... And it's funny because, like, you see a lot of... where people are like, yeah, women were taught to be quiet, blah, blah, blah. And there's a lot of outrage against that. And they're not
Yep.
wrong. But every time I have a woman come through drive-thru and order and they're, like, whispering... And I'm like, I really wish someone had taught you mild vocal projection.
Yep.
Especially when you're like, so I can't hear you, and they're like, I'll just whisper slightly louder. And you're like, right?
Now that is definitely the people who will just go ahead and talk over you are like I'd say probably 70-80% of the time they are men.
Oh yeah.
So the I'm gonna stop and wait for other people to talk tends to be a male
It's
attribute.
definitely more, yeah. There is definitely more interrupting in general from men. Women do it as well, but not
Yep.
as often.
Well, and that is where I grew up in a household where if you want to be heard, you talk. So I don't know if you noticed that when me and my sister are chatting, we have no problem talking over each other, and that's just.
I don't think I've actively noticed that, but
that's definitely
I feel
a
like
thing
you
of.
two maintain a pretty good.
Because I was not this last year, I think, but the year prior, we kind of just like talked over each other, and like she looked at me and said, "Yep, this is the way we used to do this," and I'm like, that is correct. That is exactly how this went. Oh no, I would not like to go backwards. I'd like to go forwards. There are 2 islands, and I want to hit them both.
I mean, I feel like, to be fair, I'm trying to think. I think I'm more likely to talk over my brother.
Yeah.
Because of, like, he's my brother. At this point, politeness no longer applies.
Yep.
I'm more likely to wait for other people, but my brother, I'm like, nah, you
You
were
don't
second
count.
born, so basically that. Like, you're second born, you don't get opinions.
And that is like, it's, I know Mel will accuse me of interrupting a lot, but I'm like, there's a lot of times where I'm like sitting there in a conversation being like, I have something to contribute to this conversation, but there is no opening for me to say anything. So the point where my contribution would have been relevant has passed by, and now I'm not going to say the thing that I was going to say.
Oh
So,
yeah, I get stuck in that a lot. I try to be pretty, like I try to kind of watch people's faces and
yeah.
stuff to see if they're getting stuck. But I have definitely had that where I'm like, oh, I have something really cool, and you're like, oh, it's kind of passed by, and at this point to loop around is kind of silly.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm more likely to do it with yourself and Mel because we've known each other long enough.
Well, that's where when you're like, yeah, okay, like this, we can just loop back to this later on, and it doesn't feel awkward. But with the people you don't know quite as well, sometimes you're like,
It's so much harder when you
just
don't know
going to
people.
leave that.
Yeah, you're like, well, that would have been cool to put in there, but we'll put a little pin in that.
Yeah, that was definitely on the weekend at the in-laws' birthday party. I'm like, this is mostly an awkward party for me, just because I'm like, I don't.
I feel like just general age too.
Well, that's what I'm like. Most of the people here are older, and I feel like I'm very much operating on the like nothing really exciting has happened in my life where I'm like, oh yeah, this is something I can talk to like just anyone about. Where it's like, if you have questions and are interested in how my like the sword painting is going, boy, do I have stuff to talk about. If you're like, how's work? It's like
Well,
work. Nothing's
let me tell you.
really changed there for the last year. I don't have any issues with how things are going. Things are going fine, but also not a lot of excitement. So,
I feel like that's the thing. Like I can tell you customer service stories for days.
yeah,
But yeah, whenever my uncles are kind of like, so how are things? And I'm like, things are things?
yeah. Things are very thing-like.
Mostly because I'm always waiting. Like, I will caveat with this with, they are not wrong.
Yeah,
But I'm always waiting for that. So when are you gonna, and I'm like, oh my gosh.
yeah,
Like, this was a lot easier at points of time, it's not now.
yeah,
I am grateful Dane no longer asks me why I don't move out to Vancouver to work because I'm like, are you gonna pay for me to move?
yeah. Vancouver is expensive. Ain't nobody got money for that.
Kind of. That's the thing. Like, it was suggested at one point, and I was like, do you know how expensive moving is, let alone finding a place?
Yeah. Also,
It'd be,
Vancouver's
like, one thing if I had a job, but even then.
Vancouver's pretty cool for the people who want to be in Vancouver. If you don't want to be in Vancouver, it kind of does suck. Are you
I
done on the
like
island?
visiting Vancouver. Yeah, I'm totally
Okay.
done.
Pull an anchor.
Bruce got me once, I think, twice, so I'm done. Not today, Satan. Yeah, that's the thing, like, I love visiting Vancouver. Vancouver's fun.
Yeah.
I have no desire to... I have lived in Vancouver, to be fair.
Yep.
I have lived there. I enjoyed living there, but I honestly didn't take advantage of a lot of what Vancouver had to offer.
Yeah. I would say I lived in Vancouver, but I don't feel like it really counts because I wasn't there long enough to be like, yeah, okay, this is what it. I have made friends and connections in Vancouver because the whole thing was there was always this is the date you're leaving.
Yeah.
So it was never worth it, but it was definitely Vancouver's cool, but Vancouver's not Vancouver's not really quite the right place for me. It is a proper city.
I will, like, caveat that with I'm always kind of surprised at how friendly Vancouver is. Because, like, or rather, I think I'm just very approachable. That's probably how to phrase that. So I would be on the SkyTrain, like trying to ignore people, and I was always like, why is everyone coming up and just chatting with me?
Yeah, I have a different physical description from you. That is not how people react to me in public.
Fair.
They just compare it to the nearest wanted poster and move on with their day.
It's probably the goatee.
I mean, the shaving the goatee makes me a lot less. Like the facial hair definitely puts me into a specific assumption. Like I'll just put it to you this way: when I wear a tank top, it kind of fits into a stereotype. When people are like, "Uh-huh, of course, you're wearing a wife beater. Got it. Got your uniform on."
I kind of love that, only because I know you and it's ridiculous.
Well, it's one of those things where it's like they like when I, especially is like if I get off a motorbike, especially when I had a cruiser, and yeah, it's like people immediately kind of think they know what my own like if not like they even when people aren't assuming that they know me, they still sit there and be like, well, we know how you perceive yourself, and it's like, no, you don't. I do not see myself as some sort of badass individual, who the law's out to suppress. But like honestly, if I went and made a really crappy sign on the street corner and basically like had a sign that like said something like white genocide, you would look at me and go, "Yep, that tracks." And it's just like, mm-hmm. And that's like, one of those worst parts. Like, well, yeah, when people find I'm conservative, and it's like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, of course you are. You look like you'd be conservative, and it's like, I am, but I'm very much a moderate conservative. I don't the like I am conservative. If you look at like if you just look at okay, what are the basic core values of conservatism, which is like small government and stuff like that. When it's like, all right, do you support the political parties? And it's like, no, not a fan of open bigotry, which is largely how that's gone in the last while.
Yeah. I think the big thing is like there are certain political parties that I really fear getting power, and it's literally not because the tenants are bad.
Yeah.
It's because whoever they have at the front, and I'm just like, could we not?
Well, that's where I'm like, I would love to be able to vote for the Conservative Party locally. We do not have like the leadership of the Conservative Party is just so out of touch. It's like, how are you the Conservative Party? How are you? Yeah, I don't know. I don't. And it is also, it's kind of gotten to the point where I'm like, it doesn't even matter who's in government. It's the real problems aren't going to get fixed. It's just a matter of how open do you want the corruption to be? Seems to be the real question. And I'm like, can we go back to a point where we pretend like we're trying to at least make progress? But
Progress? That's illegal.
whatever. Either way, like the thing I was saying, where I'm like, I do fit a stereotype where it's like you look at me, and if I was standing on the street corner with a like white supremacist sign, people would be like, mm-hmm. Not
I do
surprised.
appreciate this because of the two of us. I think I hang out with bikers way more than you.
I mean, I am a biker.
Yeah,
How can you?
But I've never seen your leather jacket, sir.
I do not own a leather jacket. So Crafting Spirit's brother was around for the weekend because of obvious reasons. But definitely, he had his Harley Davidson look going. Which is funny because he doesn't even ride a Harley Davidson. He rides a Yamaha, but still, he just.
Now is this Army Brother
Yep, Army
or?
Brother.
Oh,
Who
I
is
adore
actually
Army Brother.
he is actually headed to Germany for 6 months with the Canadian Armed Forces.
Nice. I am well aware, by the way, that Army Brother has a certain demeanor, but I find him delightful.
I mean, he's a nice dude. He's a really nice dude. But there is a.
Oh, 100%. There is a he fills a role.
Yeah.
But I super enjoy him. I find him hilarious.
Yep.
Also, 100% believes that he has like Harley everything.
The whole thing is,
yes.
yeah, but no, he's very much got like the Harley Davidson like look. Like you go, yeah, that's the real biker look.
If my
but of
brother
course
showed
he
up
is.
with him at the house, I'd be like, yeah, of course.
But of course he doesn't actually ride a Harley Davidson. His girlfriend does, but he rides a Yamaha V Star.
That's even better.
And I'm just like, yep.
I would honestly, in some ways, it would go very poorly, but I would love to introduce him to my brother's little group.
Yep.
Just because they are kind of snotty about bikes, and I find it really funny.
And that's the thing I appreciate is where he is just like, yep, he's a biker in the fact of, yep, it's got two wheels, it does the biking thing. What do I need for the bike to be more comfortable, more usable? That's what he cares about. And I'm like, yep, I'm with you on that.
The thing, like, I understand the aesthetic. I understand commitment. Like, this is how you see things. This is who you relate to.
Yeah.
But like when you literally can't join a group because you're not riding an American-made motorcycle, I'm just like, that's a bit silly.
Yeah. Yep. 100%. Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous where it's like, but that is very much, that's, motorcycle clubs have so much, this is how you have to do it. And I'm like,
yeah.
So sorry, how are you guys based on rebel culture?
By fitting in, we rebel.
Yeah, we rebel by fitting the mold. All right. Don't think you know what those words mean, but all right.
It's actually funny. I haven't asked. I'm not sure my brother is actually involved with them anymore.
Yeah.
Like, he still has the bike, but I know, like, with everything, the bike is not tenable for him anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, that is, I do hope I don't get to the place where it's like, no, can't ride. Riding is a big part of what I do, so it would suck to lose that.
It's definitely been a sucky, like, adjustment.
Yeah.
I think it's where I get a little defensive, because it's been, well, like, I'm gonna phrase it this way. Some of the stuff I do at work, I think, does affect my hands. Not so much, I think, long term,
Yeah.
but just in general of, like, things happen.
Yep.
And there's a couple people who are very quick to be like, maybe it's carpal tunnel, and I'm like, stop putting that in the world.
Yep.
Not that there aren't solutions and blah blah blah, but
Yep. Well, that is, as a mechanic, I'm like, yeah, I've done damage to my hands already. There's no way around it. I will continue to damage my hands.
I mean, that's basically just kind
not
of
a way
life.
around it. Yeah, it's, if you do a physical job, that is how it goes. There's not a way
Yeah.
away from it.
Well, I mean, even non-physical jobs have their things that just take a toll on you physically.
Well, that's the little thing of like, all right, so you get a desk job so you don't break your body, and you sit at a computer all the time. All right, so now you're dealing with like spine issues and like wrist issues, and it's like, all right, well, what do? Do you want your body to not break down at all? Don't get a job, I guess.
I was about to say, be born rich.
Yeah, basically. That didn't work out for me, so I hope you have better luck.
Just have to game the odds better, I guess.
Yeah, that's one of those where you see a crappy respawn, so you just basically
Write a ticket next time around. Excuse me.
yeah.
I didn't pay for the platinum card to get the copper package.
But it's like when yeah, if you have a video game and you have a really crappy spawn, you just go reset and go, nah, I'm gonna try again. But I'm sure that like basically rising suicide numbers are, you know, nothing to do with the global situation.
Nothing at all.
But that's definitely the thing that gets me is when people are like, when people look at basically anyone with like suicidal tendencies and they're like, oh well, you know, that person just needs to be stronger, and I'm like, say like an addiction's the same thing where people are like, oh well, you know, they made choices, and it's like,
I hate that phrase.
Is just not how that works.
Like, that was the thing, and I've had this conversation a lot, where it is my opinion. It's my opinion that we need more free healthcare-esque stuff. I say as someone who's Canadian. I feel like we should have free dental. It has been proven that like dental health directly correlates with heart health.
Yeah.
I also feel like mental health care should be free. Because I feel like we find a lot less addiction issues if somebody can be like, hey, I'm having emotional distress, and I would like to talk to you instead of self-medicating.
I think we would have a lot less. Basically, I think it would be easier on the healthcare system.
Yeah.
Like, it would be
don't
cheaper.
Get me wrong, there are still people who are going to take that step to self-medicate first.
Yes, but
there'll be availability where they can be like, you know, I really don't like myself when I'm like XYZ.
Well, so like
and then you could be like, hey, I can talk to somebody about what can I do to do the thing.
So I very much am a conservative in the fact that I want like small government. I want the government to keep their nose out of things that don't need it. But it's over the years it's becoming increasingly clear that if you want to reduce the amount that you are spending on healthcare, even if you have free healthcare, or not free healthcare, basically if it's state-funded healthcare, or not basically personal funded healthcare, it's like all private. Unless you just are literally going to let people die, at some point you do need to give out free healthcare.
Yeah.
So you want to reduce the amount you're spending on that. Have more options for mental care. Oh, so you have a homeless problem? Give them a place that's safe. It doesn't have to be much. Like, give them something that is slightly bigger than a coffin, and it is a safe place for them to be, and have like just a few basic items, and give them access to some mental health services, and your homeless problem goes away.
Well, it's part of the thing, because we have the shelter next to us. And the problem with the shelter is they get kicked out of there at like 7 in the morning or something like that.
Yeah.
So they hang around all day in that general area, which is fine. But they don't have access to bathrooms, etc., which is just a goddamn crime. However, we are unlikely to let them in our bathrooms, because then our bathrooms are used to use. And then we're dealing with this fallout of people who are intoxicated.
Yeah.
And none of us are paid enough to deal with it.
Well, you're not equipped to deal with it. Like, you're just not equipped to deal with it.
And like some of them are fine and they
you're
just
equipped
hang
to
out.
serve
But
serve coffee cups, not
that I make fancy drinks. And it does super suck for that situation, because then there's resentment on both sides where we end up calling the shelter a lot and being like, we can't handle this, and they go, well, why not? Because most of us are women and there's a lot of minorities, and this is not our job.
Well, yeah, like that's it would be ridiculous to expect you guys to be like, yeah, we'll just deal with it ourselves. It's like, the people who are supposed to deal with it barely have the tools to deal with it. You guys most certainly do not have the tools for it.
And of course, the sucky thing is there are a few people who feel that they're capable, and I'm like, no. Because I don't want to deal with Fallout when you get punched.
Ooh, I found a safe.
Nice.
I'm a little disappointed. Good materials, but I was hoping for like a painting or a nice luxury item.
That's what I expect to find in a safe.
Yeah, but it was just titanium and metal parts. All good metal parts, but still just metal parts. We're not shy on those at the moment. Fair, there's a lot of titanium in there. There's 4 pieces of titanium.
I mean, that's a decent amount of titanium. I'll be honest, I've never milked a goat, but I'm pretty sure you don't want them wandering away from you while you're trying to do it.
I mean, it's not the end of the world. If the goat's feeling comfortable while being milked to kind of wander, at least it means you're not having to fight the goat for milk, so...
Fair. I have less desire to fight a goat.
My mom has definitely had cows that were like, I know you're milking me, but I got things to do. And it's like, you are a cow. The things you have to do are precisely wander around and eat grass.
It's one of the things I enjoy. I will watch one dairy farmer in particular, because I enjoy, like, having somebody who works the industry kind of talk about it.
Yep.
And so he has like an automatic milker, which I think is a really kind of cool thing, because why wouldn't you?
Yep. They are definitely handy.
You know, he'll talk about occasionally he gets an alert and he has to go kind of nudge one who's just decided like, oh, I'm not doing shit today. And he's like, well, you know, it's been been like 24 hours, you should probably be milked.
Yep.
Also just like super appreciate anyone who calls like any animal a punk. I think it's hilarious.
Yep. I do appreciate that this game. There's always like, okay, I'm going to do this thing next. There's always 5 things I'm trying to accomplish at any given moment. It is I think that's one of the key ingredients to making a game that is basically sort of addictive to play. Is there always needs to be multiple things to do. Always needs to be, okay, I need to do this and this and this. And like that's like a game like Civilization is relatively addictive just because it's always like I have a short-term goal and a long-term goal, and by the time I finish my long-term goal, I've gone through like 7 different short-term goals. So there's never a clean break to leave the game, which means you're always wanting to come back and do more. This game manages to strike that balance pretty well. I would still like, there's a few areas where I'm like, I would like you to be a little less bullheaded here. Like I am hoping we become a little less dependent on just keep constantly fishing because it's the only way you're surviving eventually.
Yeah, I would. This is all speculation, obviously, because I'm not in the situation. But I would assume as you're drifting, like there would be a way to set up some kind of net.
Well, that's like we already
so
have
that you could,
resource
like,
nets.
efficiently-
Why not have a fish net?
Yeah. Now that being said, I would be fine with even balancing that out with a fishing net could be rated by Bruce.
Yeah.
Which
Well,
is
that's
pretty realistic to me. So it's
yeah.
kind of like so you have to keep an eye on the thing.
Yeah, like
Because
that's the
Bruce
thing
might
of
come by and take like 25% of what you've got.
well, it should be a thing like there would definitely be ways to balance it where it's like, okay, well, yeah, you like even with like, all right, maybe you end up needing to have it run like basically have power to it in order for it to do exactly what you want. There's lots of ways to balance it.
Little electrified net. Mini shocks.
Yeah, little mini shocks. Maybe we'll catch ourselves a mini Bruce.
I feel like anybody who's accidentally leaned against the electric fence is just cringing right now.
Yep. I mean, I would certainly not volunteer for that. Most of the electric fences we had growing up were actually pretty mild. They were rated to, encourage the livestock to stay in. They were definitely not strong enough to flat out stop livestock from leaving if they were determined.
Very little, I think, is.
Yeah.
Like, you just get to a point where you are of a size
Yep.
that no matter what we do, if you want to leave.
Well, and that's where most of the time you find those really, really strong electric fences. They're not actually designed to stop wildlife. They're designed to stop people. I definitely have watched a video of basically a thief in a third world country who's stealing, I think he's actually stealing fruit. He's got like a bag of whatever. And yeah, that basically he's climbing over the fence and then suddenly you see him like, basically he tenses up very suddenly and then like stumbles his way back off the side that he came up and like sort of like stumbles around like holding his hands in the oh that hurt a lot look, and you're like that fence is designed to keep people out. You are people. You managed to make it in somehow without being electrocuted, but now you got to get back out of that fence. Good luck.
It used to be my dad's biggest complaint. because where we lived, like, we were in the outskirt of a very small town. But you,
Yeah.
and I'm sure you ran into this too. You get those people who move to the country because they like the idea of living in the country.
Yep. The
Except for
idea
they want
is,
the country to be a city.
yeah, they want it to be the same as taking a drive through the countryside.
That.
Living in the country is not like driving through the countryside.
And I may have already told you this one, but there's definitely a point where horses got out. Like, that's what horses do.
Yeah.
And my dad went looking for them, and he found them, and they were on this lady's very manicured lawn. And they, of course, they're horses. They had pooped.
Yep.
And so he gathered up the horses, and then she comes running out, and she was kind of like, well, what are you going to do about this? And my dad, being who he was, which was very kind of blunt in some way, he like looks at it, looks at her, and he goes, well, tell you what, I won't even charge you, and just walked away.
Yep.
And I'm kind of like, yeah, that's fair, because country mentality, that's half decent fertilizer. That is
Like,
not city mentality.
yeah, it is good fertilizer. Basically scrape it thin and leave it be.
Yeah. Well, and people can argue with this too. I generally find that horse poop does not really smell.
I
Like,
mean,
it has a scent. Do you know what I mean? But it's not like, it is not the most offensive.
it is, well, like, as soon as
Cows are
it dries, it stops smelling.
That.
It doesn't take very long for it to dry. Not a very severe problem.
Haha. I don't even have to go in the water.
That's my goal with our current Bruce population. I don't want to interrupt their threesome.
Yeah, I can't tell if it's a set of triplets or, in like that case, kudos for finding each other.
Yep.
But also, could you hold your family reunion somewhere other than our park?
I don't mind the three sharks, but I do kind of wish that it would take them longer to
Show up again? Yeah.
show up again if I'm gonna have to deal with three of the buggers.
Oh, hey, look, there's a bruise. Haha. Only one of you got me. Good job.
That was definitely like there are certain parts of country living that I absolutely love. Like even living in Penticton, I love the volume of the city. It is not Vancouver volume.
Now, are we talking volume as in every season but summer? Because I think that makes sense.
Well, the entire thing is like when I moved back from Vancouver to Penticton, those of them like I can hear the silence.
That's fair.
There's this background buzz that never stops in Vancouver. And that's where I'm like, I am happy to be away from that.
That was definitely a big thing when I was going to university, both Vancouver at SFU and then UBCO. Once the actual classes started, was I'd get very annoyed that I couldn't find a place that didn't have humans.
Yeah.
Because, like, I don't need a lot of not humans, but I need a little of not humans.
Yeah. Yeah, not a lot of no humans here in Vancouver. A little bit easier to get in Kelowna, but not Not hugely.
I mean, I feel like obviously when we go out to the parks, it's a little earlier. But by
Yeah.
the time we leave, we've still had enough space that while it is not human free, you don't feel like there's 1,000 humans there, you know?
Yeah.
With the exception of the small carnival that's set up next to us this week.
Yeah,
Which
that was an interesting choice.
I just kept looking at the other end of that very little bit of a subsection of the park, and I kind of understand where they set up because trailhead, but also I was like, you could have just asked us to move down a bit. We would have gladly done it.
So you may have gladly done it.
That's
Screw
fair.
those people. They're not the boss of me.
You say this like you haven't abandoned the gazebo for that church group.
Yep. I don't actually mind. But I can pretend like I do.
Fair. I think I would only mind if we were lugging equipment significantly farther.
How they ask is a very big deal for how convenient I'll make this.
Also fair.
I don't think you were there though, but there was definitely one day where I'm like, oh yeah, like we won't be here long, and then I did nothing differently because I'm like, you are a little entitled. I am gonna make no effort to get out of your way.
Tone is definitely a very important part of that.
If you're like, hey, we would like to do this thing, basically, I would like to approach you and see if we can come to a deal on this. Okay, cool. I will work with you. But if you're like, I wanted this space, and it's like, oh well, this is a public space, so you wanting it doesn't mean anything. You are not entitled to the space by any means. Not any more than every other person is.
I have someone looking over my shoulder, and they're very curious how you drink the gin while wearing that shark mask.
Through my eyes, apparently.
Apparently through his eyes.
If you, hold on, I will. Here's the drinking animation.
I haven't actually seen that in person. That's terrible.
Is that the first time I saw it in third person? I'm like, wait, what? How do I drink water? Sir, you need to improve your drinking method. It leaves a lot to be desired. I kind of want to hit a big island because I've found I caught fish and want to
Trade him?
I want to trade. But we're just going through small island after small island. Man, yeah, I guess I could actually just pick a large island on the radar and go for it. That is an option that I have available to me. But it's not specifically my preferred option, so it is unacceptable. Yeah, I have to admit, at this point I've gotten so used to the shark mask.
My mom was definitely like, why are there so many teeth? So I had to explain why there were teeth. And I was like, this is easier just to show.
Did you hit the comic key to look at yourself, or just go look at me?
I did not. I was like, I'm just gonna look for James.
Yeah, the comic key lets you look at third person. And I forgot I was wearing the rebreather, so I've got even the bottle in my mouth. Maybe that's why I'm drinking through my eyeball. My mouth is occupied by air bottle. Breathe through my mouth, drink through my like the tear ducts.
I mean, that's exactly how you should breathe. Catching shade for why my character has a beard.
Sorry, why your character has a beard?
Yeah.
What character are you playing?
I'm playing one of the guys.
Oh, yeah, you're playing the
And
initially unlocked dude.
The answer is I don't care what gender I play.
Yeah.
Gender is not a firm line for me.
I am actually playing as the character that I'm like, yes, I am totally gonna play as him. He looks most like me.
That's fair.
Middle-aged, possibly Hispanic. Bad facial hair. He's got it all.
I enjoy your facial hair, but I think, and obviously this is not a problem with you because I have 100% played female characters around you. I am always a little hesitant to play female characters just because I have played too many multiplayer games where that somehow gives people the right to be creepy.
Mm-hmm.
So. I'm trying to think though. I think both my Valheim characters were female. Because I have Cadlin and I have Shep. But I think Shep might actually be female. I can't remember.
Yeah. I have a mix of male and female characters for Valheim. There was a fair mix of Odin's daughters, or Freya's daughters, or
Hey Milo.
How's it going, Milo girl?
I feel like the gender thing is not as, like, I'm not as concerned about it.
Yep. Yeah, we still have 14 mini sea shark steaks. Oh, and I apparently need to eat something now.
I'm actually looking forward to when Aki sees all of my hair.
Yep.
And when they honestly get to see the glow in the dark, I know that, like, we were talking about it, but glow in the dark glasses are kind of great.
Yep. Yeah, it was definitely when Aki finally made them, like, no, digital, and I'm like, yep, that makes complete sense.
I appreciate. I, as it turned out, could have picked them up.
Yep.
I don't know how close I could have gotten to Lakeshore, I'll be honest.
Mm-hmm. Well, but the whole thing is it's an uncertainty. And,
yeah.
Yeah. And that was definitely Costing Bureau was like, oh, they're being lazy. They just want to cross Maine, and I'm like, I feel like that's very valid. I would not want to just cross Maine needlessly at that point.
Kind of. That's the thing. Like, it's probably easier as a pedestrian.
It is easier as a pedestrian, but then you still have to get to there. You have to time it all right. You have to get to a spot where somebody can pick you up from the other side. It's not like it's nothing. It's not like, well,
Well, that's it. And I mean, like, the same can be said of me. I could have crossed Maine. I did end up crossing Maine.
Mm-hmm.
And I found, like, I figured industrial would be the least busy. And I got lucky that way because it kind of was.
Yeah.
But for the, I crossed originally at Duncan, I think, in Maine.
Yeah.
And I think I sat there for 4 lights. Well, I say lights, but, like, all the lights were on the red flashing.
Yeah.
It's like there was not really movement. And I was watching people behind me just give up and turn around.
Yeah.
And it's fine. It worked out. I probably could have picked up Aki had they managed to make it anywhere.
Yep.
But I don't want to know what Lakeshore looked like.
Yep. And that's because if they were down at the south end of town, it'd be like, oh yeah, like this will be very easy to deal with. But north end of town, I'm like, no, that's where everything's happening. I don't want to go deal with that.
That's kind of the thing. Like, even if they've been able to make it to the mall, but then I'm like, the buses are probably kind of shaky, and they're
Yeah.
not great to start with.
And that's, I think, one of the bigger problems that I have against the whole Iron Man thing is the Iron Man. There's never a clear, okay, what should I expect?
Yeah.
It's never, okay, yeah, I know it'll be fine. It's like, maybe I'll go across, maybe I won't. Maybe this is gonna be a really big pain in the butt. Maybe this will be fine. No way to know. And that's just
Yeah.
not.
Well, and they were supposed to put out a thing about traffic being impact on their website, and I
Yeah.
didn't even see it the day before. And like, in my opinion, just judging by all the bad jobs that I've worked that have operated, I just think the town should shut down.
Yeah.
I like, obviously not the hospital or
Yeah.
like emergency services, but I feel like
So-
retail places should just give up for that day.
So Milo, the mini Ironman, there's a triathlon that happens in our city every year. It took a long break, but it's back. So they basically they start with a swim, I think. I can't remember.
Yeah, they swim across our lake.
I mean, they swim out into the lake and then swim back. But yeah, so they start with a swim, and they do a run, and then they do a long bike course. I'm trying to remember how many kilometers long it is.
I'm actually looking that up
It is
because I'm kind
quite
of
long.
curious. It is a lot.
But basically it goes.
Let's put it this way: the winner won with a time of 8 hours, almost 9 hours.
Yeah.
That's how long it took the winner.
Yeah, so the fastest person did it in over 8 hours, which is actually pretty impressive.
It's pretty good.
But anyway, yeah, so the biking course goes through cuts our city apart, because you can't cross the lanes where they're using to do the bicycling event. So those streets are very difficult to cross because you have to wait for there to be a big enough gap in all the bicycles going that a car can go through. So it's very, very slow to cross. And it actually goes through 4 other cities in the area, because they travel through the 4 other cities going around. It is very inconvenient because it does kind of shut down basically our city and all of the cities south of us for the day.
So I'm gonna say kilometers because I don't honestly know miles. It's 3.8 just for the swim.
Yeah.
1 sec. It is 180 kilometers for the bike.
So just a bit over 100 miles for.
And then it's 42 kilometers for the run.
42 kilometers for the run would be like brain. It's like 25. But yeah, it's a relatively big event. There's a lot of space gets shut down for it. I do feel like this year was probably better than last because they mostly stuck to one corridor through the city rather than carving up to one side and then down the other, so the people in the middle are trapped. Because at least it's like I'm trapped on my side of the city, but at least have access to everything on my side of the city.
Yeah, the bike race goes through 3 separate towns.
4.
Do they go through Caravan as well?
Yep.
Oh geez, my apologies. 4 separate towns. And for like relation from where it starts, it takes about an hour to drive to the farthest town. Caravan is what, 45 minutes?
Yeah, that's about.
So yeah,
right.
it would go an hour down, and then I would say about an hour and 15 back, something like that. I haven't actually gone all over Caravan. I kind of have. It sucked, and I was half asleep.
Okay,
Miles are definitely bigger. I am glad we have James to translate because I do not have the translations.
I drive a car that is in miles per hour, so my work van is
Makes
actually in
sense.
miles per hour.
Of course it is. I love and hate that.
Okay, yeah.
Actually,
So
that was my biggest thing going to the States is because all our cars are in kilometers, trying to figure out what miles per hour. We're like, it's on the odometer, but
yeah,
trying to figure out what 30 was a bit panic inducing.
yeah. I am used to doing that conversion. But yeah, if you're not used to that conversion, can be a bit stressful. Yeah. So the bike course started in Penticton, went down the east side of the lake, uh, went down through Oak Falls, went down through Oliver, went down through Osoyoos, and then went up over through Coston and Karamias, came back up to Twin Lakes, and then it goes onto the back roads there. And actually, they split up, go down south from the observatory, do a U-turn, then come back up, and then come out by the scales, and then take the highway back into Penticton.
Oh yeah, I forgot that Twin Lakes was basically cut off. So that's I don't count Twin Lakes as a town, but they're
No,
kind of a suburb.
yeah, like
But
it
like a really
is,
far away suburb.
yeah.
They're like if an HOA is a
But
suburb.
basically, between Twin Lakes and Clayton, there's another community at the very least that
That's
is in that.
fair.
So that would actually put it up to like 6
I
communities they
appreciate that you
technically go through.
spelled Asuyas properly because that is a name. Is it spelled, or is there a double O at the beginning too?
Nope.
This is why I don't like things. It does not appreciate the dyslexic.
No, that is the correct spelling of Odysseus. So, one thing that's very interesting, so people who can't convert freely between miles per hour and kilometers per hour, I don't know if you've ever looked at my motorbike. There's no needle. It's just, here's your reading in kilometers per hour. So, for the people who've never thought about this problem until they're crossing the border, this suddenly induces panic as they are like, I don't know how fast to go anywhere. But it's a digital speedo. If you think about it for a moment, it's like, wait, this is the same bike that's sold in the US and Canada. You just need to basically go into the settings and actually change it.
Miniwan needs to be here to translate.
Yeah.
We will shame him.
He's here earlier. He's not here for translation anymore. Unacceptable.
Rude. Being said, Asuyas does have a really nice coffee shop. Or they used to. I haven't been to, like, actively walked around Asuyas in a time. No, Mini Bruce. Oh, I'm dead.
Where are you
I feel
then?
like, I think far side of the island.
Okay.
Are they hitting harder?
I mean, I don't think they're hitting harder than they did at the start of this, but they are in hard mode. They are hitting harder than they do on normal mode.
That's fair.
And
I
if
just feel
there's,
like I was almost incapacitated by one bite.
are you sure it was one bite? It could have been 3 bites
So.
from,
Oh, it might have been, yeah. I only
because
saw one Mini Bruce,
yeah,
but that doesn't mean anything.
because that's where there's a lot of times where they like hit with almost the same timing, and I'm like, that's not fair.
That's just rude.
Because that's like I've hopped in and just been like, oh, I'm dead. I went from full health to just dead. Wait, no, bed is on blue. Still have an unsheltered bed. Never bothered getting.
Thank you for the save. I got
Not
a whole
a
2
problem.
play. Hooray. just doesn't understand that mini chef is not snack. I mean, I am
Yep.
totally snack, but
Friend, not food.
fish friend, not food. Oh man, pumpkin spice starts tomorrow.
Hey, excited?
A little. I have some pretty silly greetings.
Ah, yeah.
But it's also pumpkin spice.
I'm gonna drop the
It
anchor
is
because I realize
vastly
you're not on the
overrated.
raft.
Oh yeah, yeah, I'll come back. I will die getting
I mean,
it.
I heard that.
I heard that it tried. It failed. Thank you. Just a little chomp as I jumped out of the water.
And on the upside, being abandoned on an island is not the worst thing because Bruce will follow the raft.
That is true, but sooner or later the island vanishes.
Yep. That's where you just unstuck and it's fine.
Just teleport.
Mini Shep snack cracker. Yeah, Bruce is. You'll notice Bruce doesn't ever just like full on chomp us. He just takes nibbles. He's just taste
That's
testing.
true. We're just little canapes or whatever.
Unfortunately, he very much has the you can't have just one mentality. All right.
This makes me want to eat more spicy food. So that at least he can regret eating me. Not sure I'm up to the Spencer spice level though.
I am definitely not. Well, that was definitely when we were at Kelowna Comic Con. We had chutneys, and I think I had their level 2 spice out of 6. And yeah, I'm like, yep, this is good. This is nice. Spencer has 4 out of 6 there. And I'm like, nope. Too spicy for me.
I definitely made that mistake once where we were ordering Indian food. I was really excited about this. And I ordered butter chicken because butter chicken's safe, right?
I mean,
And
that
so
is
they're
also what I got.
well, they were like, what's your spice level? And I'm like, it's butter chicken. I can handle medium. Still really amazing butter chicken. A+.
Yep.
Could not eat the full portion. Definitely took it home.
Yep.
Because, whew.
Yep.
I have to admit, vaguely amused because I ordered flat cheese recently.
Mm-hmm.
And I got myself curry. And I got my mom butter chicken, because again, butter chicken's safe.
Yep.
Most people like butter chicken, it's safe. And she was ambivalent. And I let her taste my curry, because I was like, this is really nice, like, it's slow-cooked chicken. You know, it's amazing.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, my curry, I'd had some, to be fair, but the rest of my curry, my mom's like, I'm eating this, and I'm like, but I got you the butter chickens. This is fine, it means there's leftovers, but also rude.
Yeah. That was not for you.
That's why I don't share food.
Joey doesn't share food. Wait, did I not pick up these other? Yeah, okay. there's the other battery. We'll charge them both. I'm very glad we got that battery charger. That was becoming a big pain in the butt. Where I'm like, I do not need to I do not need to make a new battery for everything that we have running on this this boat. This is not like long term. This is a problem.
Probably why the ice caps melted.
Yep. I was just too preoccupied making sure my iPhone could keep a charge.
That was definitely a whole conversation with my little adopted brother, where he informed me that I wasn't allowed to let mom get an iPhone because he didn't want to be tech support, and I was like, haha, guess what?
Mm-hmm.
It's your job now.
Yeah, it's definitely when people like iPhones are like, there's this thing my phone does, and I'm like, nope. It's not that I couldn't help you, it's that I don't want to help you. And I'm not familiar, so it's not convenient for me to help you. You've made choices that make it inconvenient, and also, I don't want to. I don't need more reasons than that. I've never actually really looked at the globe in this game, because you can have a globe, but it's just blue.
It's made afterwards.
That or someone did a coloring project.
Right, so none of these are relevant anymore.
The Helldiver series,
Well
the one
done,
that
Milo.
Yeah. It's not that I don't want to help you, it's that I don't want to help you. Yes. I don't want. But yeah, no, someone has basically taken like a blue marker or some blue paint and has actually like colored out all of the land masses. Oh, there was like this blue stain in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, maybe where the Great Garbage Patch is.
The mini horns are kind of cute.
I love the mini horn. Mostly because it is actually a functional mini horn. We've got our like little air horn, our regular air horn, and then my favorite. I don't know what battle we're charging into, but
I mean, honestly, this just sounds like we stole it from like a football game.
and
It's a
then
hockey game in our case. But...
whenever I hear that, I'm just like, all right, so who's charging into battle? Because I played enough games with like where it's like, all right, well, horn sounds when someone charges. I may have spent some of our money unwisely on things that make annoying sounds. Simply because they made annoying sounds, and I'm like, yes, this is what I want. We also have been picking up paintings. So we have a
nice
painting of Cthulhu, I guess. I don't know. And then I actually really like this one. We've got a painting of sunflowers. But it's really pixelated painting of sunflowers. Little mini pixel art paintings. Ooh, we are going to cross a big island. That'll be time to go do trading.
Nice.
Trading post. Man, the permanent scarecrow has been one of the most amazing things in this game.
Oh, they're great. I just hate them.
I mean, they're creepy, but I enjoy not having to deal with.
That was one thing I was showing the spectator. I was like, look at these creepy scarecrow.
Yep.
Congratulations.
Yep. In order to scare away the seagulls, we also had to scare ourselves. So the real horror was the like mental scarring we got along the way.
So the battle horn kind of reminds me of one of the sports ball events I went to with my brother.
Yep.
So hockey, because that's what his wife's into, and he also enjoys.
Sorry, Milo, you want this horn?
I do enjoy that one. But there was this lady who was sitting behind us who kept yelling "charge," which is like not the wrong thing to yell, but it's also kind of funny when it comes to a hockey game.
Yeah.
And it was just really persistent, like "charge," and I'm like, okay.
I'm always very amused when people at a sport event will like yell, like try to issue commands to the teams, and I'm like, I don't. What are you doing? We have satisfied Milo Girl's meaningless quotient for the day.
All the mini cuteness.
Which is good because then we also have this like X's and O's game that you have to look at the creepy pufferfish faces.
I definitely fixed it.
Much
so
less cute.
won.
I unfixed it.
I feel like if you really want something cute, you should play Garden Pause.
I really like that game, but I'm just like, there's something about the game where I'm like, the Skinner box effect has not been hidden well enough, and I have started to feel like I am simply filling meters and not actually playing a game anymore.
That's the thing, like, I
Why?
feel like the start, because I think I played a little longer than you did.
Yeah.
And the start of it, I was definitely like, I'm really enjoying this. This is like cheap Animal Crossing.
Yeah.
But did definitely get to the point where you're like, oh, okay, this is just now like farming, and I have never enjoyed that in games.
Yeah, like that's the thing. I actually enjoy grind and farm and all that if it's done well. I felt in like some ways the game was never quite finished.
Yeah.
Which if it had still been early access, I'd be willing to cut a lot more slack. Say there for a bit, we were playing a game called Garden Pause. You play as like you can play as like a little cat or a badger, or various other animals. It is absolutely an adorable game. I honestly wouldn't mind playing it again a little bit, but
I mean, that could eventually be a stream game just because it is multiplayer.
one of the problems I ran into it was the fact that the dungeon was a complete split off from the regular game. Well, it was like, I want to go to the dungeon. All right, well, everyone else has to truck along for this big thing that now like breaks the flow of the game, and I'm like, this is kind of annoying. Yeah,
it was not oh, I'm going in the dungeon for fun. It was like, oh,
yeah,
it was very cute though.
It was like, all right, well, this is what we're doing now, and I'm like, this isn't bad, but also.
I'm actually kind of curious how much time I spent playing that game. 71 hours. That's actually not that bad.
Let's see, what did I put into Garden Pause? I'm gonna have to search much farther to. I've played a few games.
I spent more time playing Valheim than I did Among Us. That's kind of scary. I played a lot of Among Us.
I spent 224 hours playing Among Us. I played way more Valheim.
242 for Among Us.
I'm not surprised that ours are very similar.
I mean, yeah.
I'd be more surprised if they were not. Garden pause, garden pause. It's gotta be here. I'm not finding it. No, I have gotten down to like 2 hours. I spent more than that.
Yeah, you spent. I would say yours was probably equivalent, if not a little bit more than mine.
No, it was less. Sorry, I found it. 34 hours.
Okay.
That's when I'm like getting down to like single digits. I'm like, I did play it longer than that. That was for sure.
I mean, that was also my play by myself game occasionally, just because it was very relaxing. Like I could
No,
come
that
home and
was
just do that silly little thing and then be done.
definitely like it's very relaxing. Basically, that game was like at its core, I thought it was a really fantastic game. It just needed a lot of polish that it didn't have. All right, stop, drop an anchor. We are at a large island.
I'm not actually sure if I can look on Steam and see when other people have played.
Or how much time people played, or when?
Yeah, because I can kind of see when.
I don't think you can see how much. I don't think that's a detail that gets shared. Steam's doing its best to respect your privacy. That is definitely, I think, a lot of the little issues that Jess runs into with her Steam just being uncooperative is, I think, the fact that most people have Steam just sharing all of their information, and she has it sharing a lot less. So I think Steam is a
Gets
little bit
tricky.
rougher around. It's a little bit rougher around the edges when you use it not the way most people do, and I don't think Jess uses it quite the way most people do. Which is absolutely not an absolve Valve of, like, Valve should make it so it works. That's kind of their job.
I mean,
What?
honestly, considering that, like, especially considering you might have kids and stuff playing, you should be able to
Yeah.
play under reduced privacy.
Well, and it
Not have a
completely
problem.
allows it. It's just that I think there's a lack of refinement because that's not how most people play. So it has gotten a lot less, like, a lot less people have had those problems, so a lot less people have required that fix.
Fair.
Valve should still be fixing it all, but I think that's why that fix is not there as much.
Definitely less worried, ironically, about my privacy on Steam.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas some of my other social media, it's like, no, don't tell anybody about me.
Yeah. Okay. Made a new bow. Should probably make some arrows, as I think bows work better with arrows.
Just a little.
And it's not like we're hurting for metal. We can make nice metal arrows right now.
That being said, I did get an opportunity to see a Japanese bow, and you could probably hit somebody with that.
I mean, it would certainly be doable. Probably not my preferred way of doing it.
I think my joke was like, well, the minute you run out of arrows, at least you're still protected.
Yep. Alright, so this island's got to have a trade. a trade hut on it.
Damn it, Bruce. Oh, it's not
I'm-
Bruce. Oh no.
Pufferfish?
Pufferfish.
Oh.
I'm dead.
Do you
Didn't
mind,
even
boar?
see it. That's very annoying.
Okay. Okay, Mike, that boar needs to go down quick. It is down. Yeah, definitely garden pause is one of those games where I'm like, I love the idea, but I would basically if they just continue to pour some more support into it, I would love to support them more. Oh, Milo's having issues opening Steam. Yeah, I find Steam is usually pretty good, but I find when anything goes wrong with Steam, it can be very like it's like there's no okay, well, here's what you do. It's like nope, that's Steam doesn't work. Good luck. And it's like, well, this is not helpful. Okay, I'm gonna buy myself the long drawbridge. Oh, wait, first I gotta sell my fish. Sell 1 lionfish, 2 lunar fish, 3 pentapuses, 3 pink pike, 6 rainbow lobsters, and 5 shark eaters. Might have to restart your computer so that Steam can open again if you want. So the music here, the nice relaxing music here at the trade post, I actually have on our raft. We have a tape player and a cassette tape of it. I am actually pretty happy about that. I'd buy the pirate hat, but Craft Spirit, I feel like would really be the one who wants the pirate hat. I'll leave that for other people. I think what I'm actually going to do is buy the ingredients for making special recipes. Why not? We'll buy a wardrobe. And then I guess we can also buy a fridge. There, I bought all of the turmeric and chili that they had. And all of their expert fishing bait. Of course, there's another boar on the way back to the island, or back to the raft. You know, if you didn't charge me, I'd probably just leave you alone. Standing up just enough of a cliff that it can't actually charge me. That was perfect. Okay, I will, as soon as I'm back to the raft, Mila, I will show you my my radio. Okay, so right over here is our little radio, and it's got a cassette tape in it. That is the Trading Post cassette. So normally... Wait, why is... Oh, there. Yep. So, nice relaxing Trading Post music.
That is very relaxing. I'm getting a little mini tour of our adopted brother's new apartment.
Nice.
I am grateful he has found something.
Yep, that was his prior living conditions sounded. You died.
I did. To the pufferfish.
Oh. You made it back onto the raft though, but first?
No, I unstuck.
Okay.
And I teleport it.
Yeah, you were just random. I was obviously not paying attention, but
It's all good.
there was there was a lot of mystery going on. I'm like, what did I miss? What was I not paying attention for? Because this is not normal. Why is Shep dead?
Shep's always dead. True story. We all know this.
That's my secret. I'm always dead.
Yeah, little mini tour.
Why? There. Oh yeah. All sorts of room for food.
Oh, because I forgot to tell you, I think. They're thinking move in around the 16th.
Okay, yeah, I have not gotten an update on time, but that was also fine. 16th-ish.
It might be slightly different. I'm gonna double check closer to.
Yeah. I will just give me one moment. So, my events for September are 16th to 18th is Home Gang in Krakenfjord, which is Vernon. Okay. So that is like day trip. Oh, I just accidentally ate a meal. Oh well.
I know, I accidentally ate real food.
Let me just check this out.
Mostly, I think the plan is, and I'll double check what the dates are again because I may be getting it mixed up with surgery dates.
That is also fair.
But the plan is to kind of be moved in, obviously, before that.
Yeah.
I did find out today, in like one of those funny little like moments where you're like, "Ugh, we live in a small town."
Yep.
My mentor teacher for my teaching practicum was in the store today with her daughter, who Dustin knows, and he was close friends with her daughter in high school. Actually, hooked her daughter up with her partner.
Yeah.
And my mentor teacher's husband was apparently very much a pseudo dad to Dustin. Which I kind of love. He was like, yeah, he brought me lunch like pretty much every day for all of grade 8. I'm like, this tracks. Mr. F is good people.
Yeah.
But I only know part of the family, but I know that they're good people. I haven't met the kids because they're much younger than me.
Yeah, it's always there are certain people where you're like, yep, you are always like just somebody there to do what needs to be done.
Mr. F and Miss Slaver, because she kept her maiden name professionally.
Yeah.
They are what teachers should be, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because, like, yeah, you can come to work and you can do the job, and then you can go home. And that's fine. Like, there's nothing necessarily wrong with that.
Yeah.
But you have to recognize you're working with very vulnerable people.
Yeah.
And sometimes you have to give more emotional input. Like, that's the reality. Because they might not
Yeah.
get that somewhere else.
Yep. Yes, in the perfect world, you shouldn't have to do anything more, but it's not the perfect world. I just put that down backwards. Let's try this again.
I mean, I definitely had kids I was more invested in just because we clicked better, or because I was just so proud of, like, the effort they made.
Yeah.
And, like, I liked all my kids, don't get me wrong. But there were some that, like, I knew struggled in my class, and who just tried. And I was like, I am so proud of you because I know this is not easy for you, and I can recognize that. And the fact that you're trying means so much.
Yeah. That is, yeah, I have a soft spot for people where I'm like, you are trying, and this is hard for you.
Well, and I know there has been discussion where I would talk about how I would gently wiggle grades, is how I'm going to put it. I'm not making dramatic changes, but it's the difference between failing and getting a low C. Well, for a kid that I know has tried,
yeah,
but does not excel.
Yeah.
But I don't want them to fail for trying. Like, that's not fair.
Well, and the whole thing is like, it's one thing was like, when someone is basically looking at the position where it's like, well, they're on that cusp of are they a pass or are they fail. It's not like this is going to be like, well, yes, they're going to use this now to go get into college. No, if they're on the cusp of failing, they just need to get to school and get into real life. Why make it difficult for them?
That's the thing, and I understand that people have different opinions about that.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that often we do not grade on effort. And if I can actively, like, if you're not trying, I'm not going to give you a lot of sympathy.
Yeah.
And there's obviously exceptions, because there's life situations, blah, blah, blah. But if you come and chat with me and say, hey, this is what is going on, or I can see things are struggle or whatever, and when it comes to your final grade, like, you're getting like a 48, I'm probably going to bump you up to like a 52.
Yeah.
That's not a big difference. But it's the difference of getting a report card and getting an F, or getting a report card and getting a C-.
Yeah.
And I absolutely also bow down to the fact that, like, other people who teaching whatever have different opinions on this.
Yep.
And they can do whatever they want in their classroom is kind of where I stand.
Yep.
Because I get it. But yeah, I would much rather reward effort.
Hello, Mini C.
Hello, Mini C. I mean, that being said, I had a set of twins. I still adore them. They were great kids. Who legit struggled in my class. And when I left, they were getting A and a very high B. And
yeah.
I cannot tell you how proud I am of just the fact that, like, they put in the effort and we found something that worked.
Yep.
And that they communicated that with me.
Yep. Well, and that's one thing where, like, especially if a kid comes forward and communicates, like, okay, that's a real life skill. That's that's going to be more valuable to them in the long run than any amount of, oh well, you got this grade somewhere.
Well, that was the thing, was I actually only really talked to one. The one with the high B was the one that chatted with me the most. But he was really good about being like, no, I really like how we do this. Like, this makes a lot of sense to me. And I'd be
Yeah,
like, hey, like, can I do anything else to improve? Um, you know, and he'd be like, well, you know, blah, blah, blah. And we would try and implement that. And it was
yeah,
really, really great for me. Because you don't always get that input, right? And so then it's like,
yeah,
well, how do I help people who are in this situation when I don't have the relation to that?
yeah. That is entirely fair. Well, and that's one of those things where that's a big part of teaching is figuring out how to make things work for the people you are teaching.
Yeah.
And
This is
that's
the
where
thing.
like,
I could teach it just one way. I could teach it the way I learned. That's going to help maybe like
yeah,
6% of the students. Like,
I'm trying to decide if there's anything else worth on this island that's worth getting while we're here. Mind you, we're not in a hurry to move on. I'll do some fishing. I've got some fish to catch.
I mean,
Some
I'm gonna
weird,
wander
gnarly
into the water
looking
and
fish.
see if I can find a Bruce.
I recommend going underwater a ways away from the raft.
Oh, I'm looking for a Bruce.
Oh, I mean, your mistakes are your own.
Yeah. Ironically, I haven't seen any. Because I have floated around the island. That's how I found the pufferfish.
All right, there's 2 Bruce.
Oh yeah, I see one. Really likes that raft. I'm also thinking, like, you know, I could be smart about this and stand on the raft and shoot at them.
It's honestly very difficult. Honestly, if you want to attract the Bruces, toss in some shark bait, and then only the one that you attack will come loose of the shark bait. Still only works until the shark bait runs out, which will be pretty quick, but still, it does kind of work. Or you could actually just take a hammer and attach something to the raft that they can bite.
Oh, that's true. I just feel like mini Bruces need to chill
So,
out.
Shep saw one. You missed a Juan pun there.
I have seen a one.
You
Except
see
for I
Juan.
haven't seen a one this week.
I did not see a Juan this week. I was busy for a lot of it, and he got out of town early, so basically skip away before Iron Man.
I don't think I've seen a one since the barbecue.
Fair. I saw him last week.
I felt a little bad at the barbecue because I wasn't expecting him to walk up behind me, and I was like, someone has touched me, and I do not know who this is.
Yep. Why is there random touching? What is this?
That. Then I was like, oh, okay, it's a one. That's different.
Yep. So my little girl has fixed it. You see Juan. As long as we're not turning Juan into mini shark steaks.
Imagine you want to log back in the game, you're just shark bait.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like if Cannibal is around, that might.
That is true. We need to bully Cannibal more.
That's how we get a Cannibal problem.
Cannibal's always a problem. As evidenced by Sunday.
I mean, I feel like that was a group effort where half the group put in the effort and the other half of the group.
I think I bow out of this.
Yeah, you and Watson both.
Not saying I didn't not help in one or two situations, but for the most part, I don't think I made all the choices.
I mean, I'll put it to you this way. You may have been comforted by Hiram not knowing who you were, but
That's
he will
never
know who you
changed.
are next time you meet.
Yep. I was very grateful. I was like, haha, I'm not a problem. Guess what? This is literally the Simpsons gif. I'm in danger.
Yeah. Yeah, I was very amused. I'm like, I expected bad decisions.
You were not disappointed.
I was not expecting that level of recklessness.
I appreciate that we have a supernatural guide. And we're like, hey, don't do the thing. And what do we do? The thing.
The thing. 100%.
This is why Morgan doesn't actually talk. What's the point?
Yeah.
We're still gonna be dumb anyway.
Nope, you're always welcome to make whatever choices you want. You just don't have an excuse to be salty later. Looking at you, crafting spirit. Yes? You are the crafting spirit. You craft things. It is how Shep refers to you
This is true.
on stream. You're always welcome to make any mini choices you want. That is terrible. That is absolutely terrible. Wonderful and beautiful, but also terrible. Wait, where? Something's not there. Those did not get put back. We would have been ashamed to not put our shark steak in the fridge. I definitely feel like I'm just running around this raft trying to feed all the machines. We do also now have a wardrobe though, so you can change the color of your clothes.
Nice.
Yeah, I guess we could say that all the mini puns are due punishment.
I will probably have to mini log off here because work.
That is fair. It is starting to get late. I am slowly fading here. But I want to sort of finish this island, I think, first. I mean, then again, we don't actually need to. We can log in on Saturday on this island. That's not a problem.
It's definitely not the worst island.
Well, and we're not at a place where we need that constant flow of movement to keep us basically to keep the machine fed, essentially. Oh, forgot to drink water for a bit.
Now you must die dramatically.
Yep.
Well, I will say goodnight, James and Milo in particular, but everyone
Yep.
else.
Have a good night. We will see you on stream probably on Saturday.
More than likely, yeah.
In real life, sooner than that.
Just a little.
Yep.
Night.
Have a good night. All right. All right. There you go. You got your mini horn sounds. Okay, and back onto the island I go. I like that gangplank. I can just walk right onto the island. It's so handy. Go here and sell my my fish quickly. I don't know what I'm gonna spend the points on, but I think I'm just gonna unlock just basically get the points, but I won't actually spend the money yet. But then we'll have them for later, whatever we want to buy. It's easier to store these as the trade coins than as a bunch of different fish types. There. Yep, sell my mini fish. It's a good variety of fish. Got a pepperfish, an angelfish, and probably like a salmon or tuna. I don't know what the little emoji fish is supposed to be the first one, but good little fish. Yes, the mini pepperfish. The ones that sneak up mostly on Shep. They also occasionally do sneak up on me. With their bulgy little eyes. Okay, well, we have made it back to the boat. It is getting relatively late, so I am going to call the stream pretty quick here. I'm going to just leave us tethered to the island. Then next time we play this, we can decide whether we want to explore the island more or not. But, alright. You have a good night. For anyone who's watching this not right now, have a good night, good morning, or good afternoon, wherever we find you. Thanks for hanging out. We'll see you on Saturday.